Welcome, welcome. Let's see where you been. Hope everyone's doing good. Oh, just introduce. Why is this not done yet? Welcome to Emerald Lake. Just getting last thing get fixed. Where are you, sweet? Oh, okay. Anyway. Alright. Welcome in, everybody. Hi, hi, hi. We're going to do more W.P. Kinsella stories. And for them, it's not really a race. It's just that there are lots of people like to play with the first person in the stream gets to say first little redeem, and I realized I should add that for those people that like to do that. Hola, El Chiquitas. Yes, you're subscribed now. We got a bunch of gifts from Pudgy Tater. That's why my weekly sub says 11 out of 10 now. Very sweet. I get to take a frog. No, you don't. You don't get to steal any frogs. They'll stay right on my head and on the big rock. They'll be right there the whole time. The whole crew. Kiru, Gamakichi, Gizmo, Bert, and then Ernie. All of them will stay. You don't get to take my frogs. Mostly because they have their own autonomy. They get to decide where they go. You cannot steal. That's not cool. It's kidnapping. Kidnapping. Alright. So we're gonna get back into the Moccasin Telegraph, our new book of W.P. Kinsella stories. Ooh, I'm gonna just move a little bit. I'm excited. He's always got good cozy stuff to read, and by cozy I mean like, ooh, you get all the feels, and you can snuggle right in and be fully in the other world. And I think it's a very good timing. In a couple days, it's National Indigenous Peoples Day in Canada. I'm not entirely sure if they do special days for the States, but I'm pretty sure you guys recognize pretty much similar days. And so reading Indigenous stories feels very good to me. Gracias por la sub. Yes, we have a month. Oh, it's a month till you guys have it? Thank you for the sub to the Kapapu man. Yes, Pudgy Tater. That is who gave subscription. Excellent pairing for these stories. Yeah. A month and a day. Oh, you have a month for them and a day. Ah. Well, yes, we have that kind of sort of too. That one's a little bit different as well, but yeah, this is the one that's right now. Yeah, I'm happy. Oh, I am glad. Glad you are happy, El Chiquitas. Use all the frogs. Go to the emotes. Let's drop in. Reminder to drop in a little frog. Let's give him one that he should have. Yes, popcorn. Popcorn is good. Num nums. But alright. Okay. Oh no, I already know the first one. I just need to put it up. The first story is called Green Candles. So that's what we're starting with. Remember to drop in your redeems whenever you'd so would like to do. And oh. Yes, now we have whispers. Did I add a cooldown on that properly? I don't think I did. Oh, thank you, El Chiquitas. Thank you. Aww. Okay, from the honk. Okay, I'll quickly read this one before we start. Popcorn is best with butter and a little radioactive ribbons. You sillies. But alright. Okay, here we go. Green Candles. Big Dave Baptiste and Victor Powder was trapping partners for a lot of years. They were trapping partners for a lot of years. The way I broke that up sounded like they were trapping people that are partners. No. Incorrect. Oops. Okay. They'd go out in the fall, backs loaded down with supplies, and if the trapping was good, they'd come back in at Christmas, this time with their backs bent down with furs. They each had a long-term trapline lease with the government on land way back behind the reserve, 50 miles or so in the Rocky Mountain house country. Yes, aw, you sweeties. You're gonna get me to blush soon. Okay, I gotta focus. They kept up a couple of line cabins out there and made themselves a good living. It is nice to see guys who were such good friends that the only thing could break them up would be a woman. And it was. November. Ooh. Aha. Yes, there you go. I would have to find the specifics on other stuff. Okay, I focus. So the two best buddies here, a woman gets between them. That's our little teaser here. They weren't the kind of guys you would ever figure to be partners. Victor Powder was a good 15 years younger than Dave Baptiste. Victor be 27 or so and a guy who knew his way around. He is good looking in a kind of mean way and the girls go after him. It's hard to do the translation when there's spelling errors, so it'll come up pretty funky. Yeah. Makes sense why El Chiquitas doesn't understand Dumda. You two are very cute. Okay, I gotta focus. Okay. He's good looking, kind of mean way the girls go after him. People laugh and joke that lots of women turn down the covers on their beds when Victor Powder come to town. Vic is slim and like to comb his hair up in a big wave with lots of hair oil. His eyes be kind of wet looking and in the light glisten just like his hair. Dave Baptiste be about 6.5 foot tall. He's big tall. He is a quiet man and hardly have any conversation to make with anybody. Dave moves slow and easy the way a big horse walk in a pasture. His smile be a long time coming, but then it is like somebody shine a flashlight on his face, and he never get mean even when he get drunk. Dave, when he was young, was a trapper and a hunting guide. Sorry. He was the very best there was, so people say. He moved through the bush so good, he was like an animal himself. Then for some reason he went off and joined the army. He was away for a lot of years. It was in the army that he get to be friends with Victor Powder. A lot of times Brain? A lot of times Dave wear a red bandana tied around his head, made him look like a pirate, and a thick vest made of red fox pelts. When Victor was about 16, he got caught by the RCMP for doing some breaking and enterings. To keep him from being sent to jail, his legal aid lawyer tell him to tell the judge that he going to join the army and never be seen around Wetaskiwin no more. The judge take to that idea, figure it be cheaper to let the Indian join the army than send him to jail. I'm mildly confused what you're saying. Don't know, but... Like, huh? What about... I'm confused. I will stop. Oh, no, of course. It's just that I can see how that would be because the translator does that. Of course you're doing your best. No worries. It wasn't meant... I'm sorry. Wasn't meant to be you being bad. It's just like, oh, I can see where that falls apart. But thank you for the follow. Play Hardop, whatever Hardop is. Welcome. Thank you for the follow. Yes, I didn't mean anything. I'm sorry, Dumda. I just meant that El Chiquitas has his hard time getting the translations, because I know if you get one letter wrong sometimes with those, you get a big wrench in the gears. Oh yes, they want to take Victor to the army like Dave had already been. Here we go. Oh yeah, for sure. Okay. He's gonna go to the army instead. Big Dave was the only other Indian in the army unit where Victor got sent. He kind of take Victor under his wing, and when after a couple of years they both get out of the army, they become trapping partners. Last winter they come in around first week of December, loaded down with furs. After they sell off, both come away with a pretty big bankroll. They figure to hang around and party for 6 weeks or so before heading back to the trap line. In town, they hardly ever do the same things. Victor go drinking every night. Dave like to go to the show at the Wheatlands Theater, then maybe just stop in for a beer or two. Dave be shy around women and never have too much to do with them. Victor Powder, he got strings on a whole lot of different ladies. It wasn't a bad thing that Big Dave done. I mean, everybody hear Vic say lots of times how he don't give a care for the girls he go out with. Oh. 3 drinks and drop the laundry, then move on to the next one, is how he describe his doings with women. Ick. 3 drinks and then, I don't know if he means just get to physical go, or if he means give them the laundry to do for you. But, okay. That night, there was 7 to 8 tables of us Indians at the Alice Hotel in Wetaskiwin. Vic, he brought along Juanita Claw as his date, but all evening he off dancing with one of the Stonechild girls who ain't even old enough to be in the bar. Last summer, Vic lived in with Juanita for a while, and they seemed to be pretty serious. Juanita is not real old, 25 maybe. She got married young and had a couple of kids quick. Hi V2 Dasher, welcome in. I'm doing good. Just keep on reading. WP Kinsella, what a good time. Oh my goodness, what have I done this whole time? Why have none of you told me that my little thing didn't transition over? Ah! Okay, we're reading Green Candles, the short story from WP Kinsella. Alright, I keep going. Okay, Juanita Claw, not real old. She got married really young and had a couple of kids quick. Then her husband got himself killed up at a lumber camp near Whitecourt. Tree fell on him is what they say. Ooh. They buried him right up there in the bush. All Juanita ever got was his duffel bag and a check for the hours he worked before he got killed. Guess the government don't have no money to send home dead Indians. The outfit he worked for wasn't a regular contractor, so there was none of this here workman's compensation or pension or nothing for Juanita. Oops. Dave Baptiste had come over to the bar after the show was out, and him and Juanita got to talking. Guess that she didn't mind having some attention paid to her, though I think at first it was mainly her who paid the attention. Ooh-hoo-hoo-hoo. Juanita have quite a few drinks, so she is not so shy as she usually is, and before long they is holding hands across the tabletop. Then pretty soon they gone and got a taxi to take them the 11 miles back to the reserve and Juanita's cabin. When Vic asks where they gone, we tell him the truth, 'cause we sure don't figure it gonna make any difference to him. He been doing everything but stick it to this young girl on the dance floor, and by the way they actin' there sure ain't no doubt about what they going to do to each other as soon as they get the chance. And reminder, the ages, I'm gonna say Dave and Juanita aren't as bad. It's a 15-year, but she's over 25. And Victor is 27. Yeah, Victor is 27. Victor Powder is 15 years older than that. He's 40-something. Okay, a lot. Maybe a little concerned with Juanita. But Vic is 27 and going after a girl too young for the bar, so under 18. Not cool. I don't like Vic. Dave seems like a sweet guy. But, okay. And then they're gonna go and now Vic's getting upset, maybe. Concern there. Okay. I wonder what the hell she sees in him, Vic say as his voice get mean and his face get ugly at the news. Okay, and so you're gonna be mean about your friend? That's awful too. You're like, oh, but my friend's ugly. Why does she like him? That's rude. You're not gonna give any nice. Okay. His face get mean, or his voice get mean, his face get ugly at the news. I would have thought he'd have been happy that Dave find himself a woman. Exactly. Victor make the same kind of comment the next afternoon at the pool hall at Hobama. We tease Big Dave about him getting it on with Juanita the night before, but everybody can tell that it be a cruel kind of tease and not the fun kind. He say a couple of times about how much older Dave is than Juanita. Big Dave, he don't do much, but he make a shy smile. Yes. They're honest about it, yeah. And he is a big age gap there. It's more than 15. Victor make sure... Okay, Big Dave don't do much but make a shy smile. But Victor makes sure he get to have the final say. He make a little laugh and say how Juanita is not very good in bed, and how if anyone should know, he should, 'cause of how he's fucked more women in the last week than Dave has in the last 10 years. Then he say some real crude things about Juanita, but he say them all like he making jokes, even though every word is pointed like an arrow and aimed at Big Dave. I like that Silas is like, this guy is being a problem. But, wow. What happened there was kind of like either The Fox and the Grapes or The Dog in the Manger. I read a whole book of them fables because Mr. Nichols, the guy from the tech school who read my stories and fix up my spelling and stuff, told me to. Guess I didn't read them good enough because I can never remember which is which. So he's either sour grapes or I don't even know the Dog in the Manger one, but okay. He really is a bad guy. Dave don't seem to let what Victor say bother him none. Good for Dave. I mean, he is in his early 40s. He's gonna be chill about it. The next night, he be over at Juanita's at supper time, and later on he asked me if I'd borrow Louis Coyote's pickup truck and drive them up to Wetaskiwin to see the show. On the ride up, Juanita rest her face against Dave's chest, and she laugh and say that the fox fur tickle her nose. Dave give me $10 for making the drive to Wetaskiwin, even though I would have done it for nothing. Dave is just nice guy. Yes, concerning age gap, but nice guy. I offer to come back and get them, but he say no. He got lots of money, and they'll take a real taxi back to the reserve. That same evening, my girlfriend, 2 spaces, like, that's weird. It used to be your girlfriend, 1 word, but now it's spaced out. What happened? Okay, anyway. My girlfriend, Sadie One Woon, babysit Juanita's kids, and I spend the evening over there. Juanita's house ain't really a cabin, but one of them places that the Indian Affairs Department have built. It got a kitchen, living room, 2 bedrooms, a utility room, and have wide siding on the outside that been painted a bright blue. Juanita be a clean housekeeper, and she keep her kids neat and see that they go to school every day they supposed to. To be fair, the age gap on Dave and Juanita, she's over 25 and has kids. I'm going to say that she's a good deal, maturer. So it's not as much of a concern. It's still the age gap, but it's not as much of a concern over 25 and with kids. Where she's being a responsible lady. But what really get me, the one that's concerning, is Vic was going after an under 19, under 18, I don't know, girl at the bar when he was 27. That's like maybe 10 years, but that 10 years feels a lot bigger than the other ones. Yeah. Okay. And it says right here, Juanita's really on top of it. She's a good housekeeper, and she keeps after her kids going to school and all that. So, yeah, I'd say she's pretty mature. Juanita got in her bedroom wallpaper of green leaves and white flowers, both real big. Make you feel like you in a jungle or maybe in a Tarzan movie. Fun. Me and Sadie make lots of jokes about that, and I walk around with a broom in my hand, pretend that it's a spear. She also got big green candle, be about a foot tall and half as wide, so that when it burn, it smell like incense. That whole room smell a little bit of incense, but it get a lot stronger when me and Sadie light the candle. It sure burn pretty, but when I go to put it out, I get the wax on my fingers and it stained them a bright green. When Dave and Juanita get back, the first thing she do is sniff the air and say, "Hope you didn't get none of that wax on you. It stains." It kind of embarrassed me for them to know we've been playing around in the bedroom, but neither of them seemed to mind. It take that wax about 3 days to wear off my fingers. Victor Powder, who never miss a thing, make some fun on me at the pool hall, want to know if I've been getting it on with Juanita. I explain what happened. I gave her that candle last fall, Vic says. Cost me $6 in a store on Boardwalk in Edmonton. I carry it to her place in my bare hands. You ever seen a green Indian? He say and laugh. Then he talk about how much fun they had fucking in the green light from that candle. He say all this while Big Dave is there. How do you like it in the jungle there? He asked Big Dave, and laugh when all Dave can do is make a shy smile. Dave and Juanita have going for them that kind of feeling where they don't know there is anybody but them around. Aww. Dave moved himself right in with Juanita, and they walk down the road to Hobama with their arms around each other's waists and kiss sometimes. You're not getting serious about her, are you? Victor say to Dave a few days later in the Alice Hotel beer parlor. Dave just shrug his big shoulders and light up a cigarette. Victor smile as nice as he know how. Reason I ask is that you and me been partners for a long time now, and I don't want to lose you. Oh, I see the hydrates. I shall hydrate. Okay. I go. Come here. Ugh. Man, that Vic need to keep his big trap shut. Haha, get it? 'Cause he's a trapper. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. But yes. Okay, I'm gonna just... Okay, the model gonna freaking freeze and stuff, but whatever. If Dave likes her and wants to take it slow, let him, damn it. Exactly. You're the one that was moving on to other girls right in front of her, you little... Anyway, okay. He says he doesn't want to lose you. Why do you say that? Says Dave. Looks to me like you're getting a new partner. Dave, I've been there for you. Believe what I say. If you get serious about her, she never gonna let you trap again. I guess Vic said all that. Big Dave don't say nothin', but his eyes shift around like they not happy being in his head. Victor real quick to notice that. I bet she's talked to you about it already. She lost one man to the bush. She gonna keep her next one close to home. 'Cause her first husband, or partner, he got killed when a tree fell on him. We talked some, Big Dave barely whisper. Juanita likes her men humble, Victor say. That's why I got out when I did. You didn't get out. He took her, chill, but okay. You were just, stringing her along. You didn't get out. Ugh, that's one of them dudes that's an asshole, gonna say that He'll go after as many girls as he wants, and then he'll just have to lie when they're the ones that leave instead of him. It's all power play. Like, dude, go to therapy. Ugh, okay. Got out when I did. Hey, she's a nice lady in her way, and I shouldn't have said some of the bad things I said about her, okay? Shouldn't have said some of the bad things. Oh my god. I just do it for your own good. Look all around. Victor, go on, waving his hand around the bar. There's 100 more Juanitas all over the place. You sample, yes, he says sample, as many as you can when you come in from the bush. And they leave you with lots of nice thoughts for when you go out on the cold trapline. But hell, she's only a woman, and we're friends. Oh, I hate you, Vic. I thought of fixing up one of the line cabins, Dave whispered again. Vic clapped his hand to his forehead. She has got to you. She'd never go with you. She has got to you. She'd never go with you. I bet she never said she'd move with you. She's got kids. Can't take them out where there's no school. She laid that same business on me, and boy, I put myself in high gear to get away from her quick. Bullshit. You did not. Ooh. Hi, grinding farming. The power of one, the power of two, the power of many. What? Really, that Victor, I'd like to give him a piece of my mind and then some. God, I hate men. Yeah, I'm not on board with Vic at all. You can pout, Yar, but you know. Ugh. Yeah, okay. Dave shrugged and drummed his big fingers on the table. She'll end up owning you, Vic say. Oh my gosh, you are not going the whipped route, you asshole. How you gonna like being owned? Maybe you could get a job, cut brush for the railway, or how'd you like to work in Ben Stonebreaker's grocery store? Or you could go on the welfare and Juanita could take you down to the Blue Quills Hall in the afternoons for tea with the women's club. And I guess he interrupts. Nobody owns me, Big Dave say. Whatever I do because I want to. Sure you do, say Vic. Laugh and smile, sad, kind of twist his mouth all out of shape. I really don't like this. Oh my gosh. Thank you for the follow. Can you spit on me? Welcome in. Heck of a name. I always say the name, so I'm put in a spot where I has to say something like that, and I has to laugh for a good minute. Well, welcome in. Oh, sorry. Yeah, guys, like this makes me ashamed of my gender. Yeah, that's about it. Of course, every group is a diaspora. It is not one-to-one, whatever, but this is the kind of guy that ruins it for everybody. Okay. He's just trying to manipulate his friend to not be with the one girl that he doesn't have so that he can take her back, you just know, and then immediately toss her when he gets bored again. This Vic's a dick. Okay. The Saturday before Christmas, Dave asked me again to get the truck and with my girlfriend, Sadie One Wound, along. We drive up to the People's Credit Jeweler store in Wetaskiwin. Yay! Where Dave buy for Juanita a diamond ring you could choke on if you tried to swallow. Ooh, he gets so big, right? Okay. It's sure funny how white people treat Indians before and after they find out they got cash to spend. Mm-hmm. When the four of us first go in that store, a man who I guess be the manager and who wear a gray suit and have a face and hands the sick color of a newspaper, watch us real close in case we try to steal something. We walk along the counters where most everything be under glass anyway, and that man sort of hover just like one counter away and watch us with beady little eyes like a sparrow. I wish my friend Frank Fencepost and his girl Connie Big Charles was along. Hey, was that always Frank's girl? I feel like that was not his girl. Anyway, he's got a girl. Okay, he wishes Frank was along, 'cause They like to joke around and make store people think they taking themselves some five-finger bargains. So they like to convince them that they're stealing. One time they got arrested by the lady store detective in a Woolsworth in Edmonton, but when the police come and search them, they ain't got no store property on them. Just to trick them up. Keep hearing those things, and maybe it's just me, but for people or just people, that be it. Huh? Okay, sometimes when you write the messages, I lose the context of what we were just saying, and I'm like, oh, wait, huh? Frank Love? The chaos agent of Frank? Yes. Okay. I'd have asked for a lot more, but they settled for a voucher for $5 each when they did the stealing, I guess. Frank, he spent all his at the candy counter. Connie buy a pair of earrings and then rip off another pair just to show them she could if she wanted to. So she bought one, but she also yoinked another pair, 'cause hey. Well, Dave Baptiste take out from the inside pocket of his vest a roll of $20 bills, about 3 inches thick. Then he tap his big hand on one of the glass cases that be full of diamond rings. Hey, he say to the manager fella, you got a cash customer here, want to look at your rings. That little man's mouth come into a smile, like somebody drawn a happy face on him, and he come over to us just wringing his hands like he was squeezing out washcloths. His eyes eat up the fistful of money that Dave holding as he unlocked the case and set out a tray of rings all buried in blue velvet. Blink like stars do at night. He tell Dave what a pretty bride he is getting, and say quite a few times how she'd be even prettier with a big diamond on her finger. It is true that Juanita is pretty. Her skin be the light brown color of tan leather, her nose wide and soft, and her lips full. She got an awful nice smile, and her body fill up her bright green sweater the way a woman should. Well, okay, if you say so. Silas, a little bit stinky there, but okay. Nobody could ever say that Big Dave be pretty. He got a long knobby face like a potato. Potato Dave. Okay, a high forehead and a nose that been broke probably more than once. Sadie, she whisper in my ear, say how come I don't buy her a big diamond ring like that. She say she figures a guy who writes stories should make more money than a guy who traps muskrat and fox. But we both know that ain't true, and Sadie push her nose into my neck, and we both look wishful at the shiny wings. Aw. It's a sweet potato, though. It's hard for me to figure Victor Powder. He ain't exactly jealous, 'cause he at least... Wait, what? They're looking wishful. Ain't hard for me to figure Victor Powder. He ain't exactly jealous, 'cause he at least claim he don't want Juanita no more. And if what he say is true, maybe he have a real concern for losing Big Dave Baptiste as his partner, and for seeing Dave get himself into a place where he not going to be happy for long. I guess, possibly. Still, it seems he go about things in a bad way. I could have her any time I want her, he say of Juanita one night in the bar. Once a woman been with me, she never turned me away. And he look across at Dave, just dare him to say it ain't so. Like the asshole he is. I remember once I talked to Mr. Nichols about people who be jealous, and he say to me that when someone is jealous of you, it don't mean that they love you a lot, but that they don't like themselves very much. That stuff Victor say day after day bother Big Dave, even though he try not to show it. Just leave us be, he say to Vic one evening. I don't want you should mess up your life, Vic answer him, and smile real friendly like. Dave and Juanita make a plan to get married the day before New Year, and they go up to Edmonton to get their blood test and license and stuff.
Victor Powder comes stomping into the pool hall, shake new snow off himself. Some of it sit like white feathers in his shiny hair. I was just over and seen Juanita, he say for anybody who want to listen. Dave Baptiste look up from the green ball with kind of a scared look on his face. We yell at each other all afternoon. She's so stubborn, sometime I figure I could blow her away. And he threw forward his head, let his oiled hair fall like shoelaces down over his face, then jerk his neck and put it all back in place. What the hell do you see in him? I ask her, and she don't come up with nothin' but she's in love. And Vic stomp around the hall and talk on and on about all him and Juanita said to one another. Big Dave finally get up from the bench by the wall, looking real unhappy, and go out the door while Vic is letting drop something about him coming out of Juanita's bedroom when the kids come home from school. I don't know if Dave hear it or not. The way Vic said it, you could take your own meaning anyway. Ooh, okay, so you don't know if it's just he walked out or they got together. I'm gonna guess that they never got together, but Vic is just doing whatever he can to cause some shit. Night before the wedding, us guys decide to have a big party for Dave. The women that afternoon have a shower for Juanita down at Blue Quills Hall. We have the party at the Canadian Legion. Ryder Stonechild, who one time was in the army, belonged to the Legion, and we get him to sign us all in as guests of his. Guys who run the Legion wear white shirts and blue jackets and are all about 100 years old. Oh, hello, welcome in, Raiders. Hello, hello. Welcome in, little trash raid. Trash raid? Why do you call yourself trash? Welcome in. Hi. We're just finishing up a story, but I'll basically tell you. We probably won't get the context when we get around to it, but I'll hold on just to say hello. So, thank you for the follow, Shagath. Thank you. We're reading about awful people. Well, one really awful dude, and then the other people that are just like having to deal with it. Ugh. All right, Mona, take care of yourself. Raccoon. Oh, Trash Panda. I see now. I sees. How do I? Show me. I see. Yes, now I see you, Raccoon. You shuffle cat. Did I tell anybody I saw a baby raccoon, like, last week? It was very adorable, and it was, like, slowly approached, and I'm like, no, little baby, I think you should stay away from the peoples, the humanoids. It's not a good idea for you to think that you should do that. You should go shuffle away, shuffle cat. Poor little bebe. But welcome in. Hello, Menace. we love a violence. Well, the emotes anyway, not the real violence. But there's our little violence, murder frog. Welcome in, Mona. Go take care of yourself. Go get foods or take a sleeps. Lurk away in here if you like, or just disappear totally. Whatever you need, go ahead and go. And thank you for sharing, everybody. Bringing them into my channel. I appreciate. Welcome in, everyone. Oh yes, I've been meaning to do this more. I am a deer woman. It's a whole thing. I'm not just a deer and a woman. It's a long story. But you can check out my stories about the deer woman in my YouTube if you would like, way back near the beginning. I feel like I should do a recap soon. More deer woman stories because it is me and it is a specific thing. Kind of a boogeyman spirit, but that is also a little bit of a hero, anti-hero time. But okay, welcome in and take care of yourself, everybody. Get settled. We're gonna get back into the reads. Here we go. Ooh, thank you. Here we go. Back to Green Candles in the Moccasin Telegraph by W.P. Kinsella. That explanation of yours, Raven. Well, what else is it? Do you not remember the story? She's a boogeyman for the bad peoples, but pretty good for the good peoples. That's what we is. Okay. Right, they're at the Legion with a bunch of old men. um, they're all in white shirts and blue jackets and are all about 100 years old. Me being a deer woman. Yes, it's not just a deer human. Is specific forest spirit. Okay. They wrinkle up their faces to show they ain't crazy about Indians, but they let us in anyway, 'cause it been so long since there was a war that most of the Legion men have drank themselves to death by now, and their bar never have more than maybe 10 people in it. They let us in only 'cause they expect to sell lots of beer, and they is right. They're having their bachelor party. Okay. We have us a lot of fun. Everybody is get good and drunk. We make friendly jokes on Big Dave and buy him lots of drinks. Frank Fence Post, there he is, make him a gift of a French safe he buy at the joke shop that be big enough to fit over a telephone pole and be white with red maple leaves on it just like the flag. Only person ain't there is Victor Powder. Suspicious. This is the guy we don't like. We don't like Victor. He's a jealous guy of the bride and groom there. Along about 11:30, I'm guessing p.m., we all get hungry, and the guys pool up their money, and I get kicked on to go get us a barrel of chicken from the Gold Nugget Cafe. As I come out of the door of the Legion, right there in the driveway, under the tall violet streetlight, is Victor Powder, sit in his brother's car that I guess he borrowed for the night. He is busy doing something and don't see me. I had quite a few drinks, or I would have known that something was wrong, and maybe I could have stopped it. Uh-oh. I should have known by the color of the light in the car. When I get back with the chicken, most of the guys are standing around in the parking lot, and it's easy to see that they is not very happy. Neither Dave nor Victor is within eyesight. Oh, I'm nervous. 3 paragraphs to go of this story. I'm nervous. Oh, thank you for the follow, Echo Jane. Welcome in, welcome in. Okay, all right. What happened, the guys tell me, is that Victor come in and sit down just after I left. He have a nasty look on his face as he sit across from Dave and put his hands palm on the table for everyone to see. Then he smiled one of them "I told you so" smiles at Dave. Victor's hands was mostly green, like the green candles that leave the stain at Juanita's house. Juanita, the bride-to-be. Oh no, oh no. They say Dave run out of the Legion like he got bees in his shirt. And right after, Frank, Robert Coyote, and Ryder Stonechild punch Victor's face for him for do such a rotten thing. So they beat up Victor for Dave because he was such an ass. The Legion people order everyone outside, and Victor drove off before he get any more fists laid on him. A whole lot of people heard the shots, and seen Dave walk out of Juanita's house. He still have his .303 held in his big hand, and he lope off into the bush. No one ever seen him again. The RCMP even had one of them tracking dogs out to look, but it just run around in circles. People say Big Dave knew the forest so good he could climb up in the trees and travel without ever touch the ground. I don't think that was true. I figure in maybe 10 years or so, some kids out hunting will kick across Dave's .303, but by that time the bears will have taken care of everything else. If you didn't catch that, deeply upsetting. I thought we were going to get a different kind of end. Basically, Dave was a severely bad person too there. Pushed to the brink, I guess, by Vic, but, and now I'm worried about Juanita's kids. But it didn't say anything explicitly, because Silas likes to do that. Silas was our narrator for this, but okay. Are you okay, Fraugies? You're not usually here for such intense stories, so I'm sorry. Everybody okay? Everybody here? All right. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, yeah. That is not just sad. That's really fucked up. Hi, Echo Chain. Wow. I'm just gonna, yeah. Yeep. Well, now it's time for redeems. You're sorry? Why are you sorry, Dum Dum? You didn't do it. Thankfully, this is, not real, but it is one of those things that it was written because it's something that real times do happen. How dark is that? How awful is that? This is supposed to be cozy. Oh, sorry. We're going to go ahead and move on to triggers. We have singing frog, dice, and card dealing, page ruffling. Oh, I'll do the stretch now. Readjust. But then we'll start with the singing frog. We'll get the wooden tones going. Here we go. No, that's it. Singing. There we go. Oh, there. Okay. We'll get that. And we'll hope that the next story is a bit of a brighter time. Okay. Okay. Alright, frog. Do. Oh, I see you've got another singing frog redeem. We'll get to that one at the next redeem break, I think. We'll get this stuff done now. There was our frogger. So now we'll go to dice and then card dealing. I'll get the mic moved around for those. Oh no! Big yawns. Okay, I'll move this. Here we go. Sorry if you get loud as I move. tried to save it. I really tried to save that die. Oops. Okay, now we'll get to card dealing next. Just gonna put everybody away except for the one that's on the floor. I will pick up one on the floor. Actually, I will. I'll go get it. I'll go get that dice. Where did it go? Aha! You are not hiding. Success. Thank you, Two on the Grass. Yeah, I'll put it as something. I don't know when for orders, but yeah, got lots from Noriakia to eventually get through the list for all the story sharing. It only grows, and technically, I have all the ones that you guys directly recommend, and then they often have for the SCPs we're talking about. By the way, they often have a link somewhere in it where it's referencing a different SCP, so then I've got like a secondary list kind of built in as well. I will be reading SCPs forever. I'm not terribly mad about that. They're entertaining, even if I hate the Foundation. Okay, here we go with cards. Unspoken Leaf was good. Okay. Just doing card dealing, Disney. Moving mic back. Okay. Oh, it's me money. Your chillin' just went on VRC after being off it for nearly years. I'm not totally sure what VRC is. The hub has changed, and so have the people. More brain rot on it. Ah. Well, what kind of brain rot? Are we talking about people are disgusting or awful? Or are we meaning like, gosh, memes are so ridiculous, I love it. Because, like, the latter is fun. That sounds like you're selling it. I better get over there. but if it's the first, no. VR. Oh, yes, yes, yes. I had somebody that was talking about it. I met, and that they do some of that stuff, and I should probably both, both. And that they do it through there. I don't think I could ever pull that one off. I don't have the like tech and such, the skibbity stuff. Ugh. Yeah, I'm not on that skibbity train. No, no, no. The Playstyle McDoctorate articles are usually that massive. Oh yeah, that's the thing about Nuri Akia's recommendations. Every time I'm like, okay, I know I don't want to read it first, because then I'm like aware of it first. I like to do I find it out with you guys stuff, mostly for the fairy tales, but it's, because of that I do it everywhere. But I gotta be able to find out where the heck everything is. Like how long it is. It's a pain. Don't get on the skibbity train, you mean? Or what? I assume that's what you mean. But yeah, Nuriakias are all very long, so I have to split it up, and I have to make sure I finish it all in one if I can. I don't need the headset. Aha. Well, but like the peoples were saying streaming with it and whatever, and I don't know all the layers of my stuff. Other people are like, oh, you can do that, and then no, my computer cannot. So I don't know. Yes, yeah, I figure. Okay, but all right, we'll do page ruffling, and then we'll get to our next story. How about that? We'll go on. We'll get back to W.P. Kinsella for hopefully a lighter story. Some more Frank Fence Post chaos would probably be a good time. But okay, I'll just shuffle this. Alright, let's start with the little book. Stiff paper. Oh, that's a cute little owl. He's very big, very bulk, but I like it. The little reading owl. Okay, next thing. Oh, and like, for tech, I don't just mean I am confused and how do you set it up. I mean, my computer cannot do sometimes. It is not equipped. It is just a no, and that's why I am trying to get the gaming laptop. If we can please fund that, we can do other fun things, mayhaps. But okay. Bigger book, fluffier pages, big ruffles. Here we go.
There we go with the page ruffling. Alright, with that, I'll pick up the book and we'll get on to the next story. So the next title is Parts of the Eagle. Promising. Parts of the Eagle, written down there, and do-do-do-do-do-do. There we go. Alright, let's do the next story. Alrighty. The family name was originally two brown bears, and both of Lester Brown's brothers still carry that name. For as long as I can remember, Lester and his family just called themselves the Browns. Then, 4 or 5 years ago, Lester hired himself a lawyer and get his name, and his wife and kids' names changed from two brown bears to Brown. I remember seeing the change of name notice on the back page of the Wetaskiwin Times newspaper. Why carry around a 10-pound name when a 2-pound one will do? Lester joked with everybody, but it be kind of a sad joke, and us... I'm not excited about this. It says in italics, real Indians look down our noses at the Browns. Take that name change as just another way Lester Brown have of turning himself into a white man. This will be a fun chat. Oh boy. Lester is a friend of our chief, Tom Crow-Eye, who, though he ain't changed his name yet, is whiter than most people been born with pink skin. Lester is one of the only Indians here at Hobama who been all the way through university. He studied first at the my brain is jumping to different words. Agricultural school at Olds, and later at the university in Edmonton. Ooh, so 2 different schools. Earned himself a degree in agriculture, which mean he know all about which crops you supposed to plant where, and all about raising cattle, sheeps, and pigs. He put that degree to use too. Lester plow up his half section of farmland, grow wheat, and raise lots of cattle and pigs. He work as hard as a white man, and pretty soon he starts sounding like one too. He give little lectures to some of us young guys who even to some adults about how a man gotta work hard to get ahead. How long you figure it gonna be before you completely white? My friend Frank Fencepost asked one day, after Lester stopped us on the street to offer advice. Lester Brown don't answer, but he sure look hard at us with a mean question in his eyes. First you change your name, Frank say. Then you start traveling with Chief Tom. Next thing we know... Ooh! Did you hear that? Oop. Okay. Next thing we know, you'll be getting white-walled tires for your truck. We already know he do have white-walled tires, it says separately. Lester kind of growl and stomp off, the steel cleats on his boots making sparks on the sidewalk. The Browns live in a big white farmhouse, got enough outbuildings, could be a little town all by itself. He married himself a girl named of Lena Carry the Kettle, who been to university and have a degree in home economics, and they got 4 kids. The oldest, a girl named June, is a close friend of my girlfriend. Oh, this time it's one word. Sadie One Wound. Sadie says June is okay, and we should lay off her family. But I don't trust a girl who wears dresses or $40 jeans and takes dancing lessons. You don't trust a girl who wears dresses? Just any dresses? What? Okay. Lester Brown is above average height, got a barreled chest, wear a straw hat pulled down to ear level, dark green or khaki work clothes. Only thing Indian about him is he wear a big Mexican silver belt buckle, got 3 shiny blue stones in it, like islands in a lake. Lately he been letting his hair grow longer than I ever expected he would.
Though they live on the reserve, the Browns don't take part in any of the activities down at Blue Quills Hall. Lester pay extra money to send all his kids to white man school in Wetaskiwin, even June, who be in high school. The kids get a better education in Wetaskiwin than at the reserve school, Lester say. I bet they wish they could all move to an apartment in Wetaskiwin like Chief Tom done. The Browns ain't thrilled that June's best friend is Indian instead of white. June wasn't too snooty, I guess. Wasn't? Why past tense now? She had a nice laugh, and she talked a lot about how she was going to study them computers when she get to university. A couple of weeks ago, June drive one of her papa's pickup trucks into Wetaskiwin for her dancing lesson. Oh no. On the way back, she swerved to miss a dog on the road, drive into the ditch, and run the truck up against a culvert. The truck was hardly damaged at all, but June was killed. It's sure strange, 'cause I seen pickup trucks roll about 6 times, just be scrap when they stop bouncing, and 5 or 6 people walk away with nothing more serious than their beer bottles got busted. But slow as the truck was going, June's ribs hit the steering wheel, and one pushed back into her chest and kill her. Rufus, first rider, was driving a half mile or so behind and seen her swerve and crash, and said there wasn't even any blood, not on her blouse or anywhere. Everybody feel real bad for the Browns on account of the accident. Even people who wish they weren't Indian Even people who wish they weren't Indian no more got feelings. There you go. Sorry. I was like, the way that was divided, I was like, what? Okay. They belong to the Catholic Church in Wetaskiwin, and the church is full of more Indians than it's seen for a long time the day of the service. The coffin covered with a yellow rug of some kind, while the Browns sit in the front row dressed like dummies you see in department store windows in Edmonton. A lot of us go back to Brown's farmhouse after the funeral. Most of the people bring food with them, and somebody set up a coffee urn like you see in restaurants or at church picnics. There is about as many white people there as Indians. I come with Sadie, and Frank Fencepost come with me. Frank ain't a good person to have at a serious party where there is white people. No, this we have learned well. Oh boy. He's gonna be a nuisance, isn't he? That's what's about to happen. Oh no. Okay. Most white people don't see Indians up close too often. So when they do, they ask a lot of questions, most of them silly. A big white lady in a purple dress that about 7 sizes too small asked Ryder Stonechild if he can forecast the weather. She say she hear all Indians can tell how good or bad a winter we going to have by signs in nature. When Frank hear that, he push right in front of Ryder Stonechild, oh boy, put his hand on the fat lady's big blotched arm and say, I am Duck's Breath, hunter, guide, car salesman, and weather forecaster. For $20, I will tell you all my secrets. Well, I'm not sure what to say the white lady, and she looked suspicious at Frank. Do you forecast weather by the way animals store food and grow winter coats? Wish I could grow a winter coat, says Frank. Nice full-length leather is what I'd grow. Instead I got to steal from the Goodwill store, but I use the rock method to forecast the weather. By this time he got 6 white folks around him. Oh boy. I've seen this meme. I take a little rock, nice and smooth, weigh maybe a pound. I tie a string around it, hang it from a fence rail. If the stone is wet, it's raining. If it's dry, it ain't. If it's swinging, it mean the wind is blowing. If there's a shadow under it, that mean the sun is shining. If it's white on top, that mean it snowed. For only $20 each, I teach you guys how to forecast like that. That ain't very funny, but what is funny is that white people don't know whether to believe him or not. Oh God. If a white person said what Frank did, everyone would laugh and say, how silly. It never occurred to them that us Indians have a sense of humor. Another time, somebody asked Fraser Cuthand how he came to have a name like that. Before he can answer, Frank butt right in. I asked my papa that when I was little, says Frank, and he say, well, son, us Indians is named after the first thing the mama or papa see after the baby is born. There's a bright moon the night your sister was born, so we called her Golden Moon. There were 3 horses in the corral the day your brother was born, so we called him 3 white horses. Why don't you ask? Why don't you ask 2 dogs fucking? The white people sure don't know how to handle that. As in, 2 dogs fucking is the name of the person you're asking. Don't know how to handle that. As Frank would say, they stand around, don't know whether to pee or go blind. That made me snirk out of my lark. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Okay. The white people don't know what to do, pee or go blind. As each person leaves that gathering, they shake hands with Mr. and Mrs. Brown. Tell them how sorry they are. Sadie, because she was a special friend of June Brown, stay late. About 8 o'clock, Mr. Brown look around and see there is mainly relatives left, or close friends like Sadie, or friends of close friends like me. It's been a long day, he say with a sigh. I'm gonna go to bed now. Nobody say anything, but the people who can see him, where he's standing at the foot of the stairs, nod their heads to show it is a good idea. Lester Brown climbed those stairs like he real tired. I hear Frank giving Chief Tom a bad time about something. The chief is trying to argue by quoting some of the government information he always spouting out, but I hear him saying that something is irrelevant, and too, he talking about the 2 spears of influence. Hey, Chief Tom, say Frank, I hear when it time for you to go to the happy hunting ground that you gonna die in your own arms. Is that true? Sorry, is that true? Humph, say Chief Tom, and he gather up his girlfriend Samantha Yellowknees and go home. Oh yeah, he's with Samantha Yellowknees. He didn't bring his wife, brought his girlfriend. Okay. About an hour later, I'm getting tired of myself. I'm getting tired myself, not of myself. I was like, what is Silas saying? What? Okay. Sadie and the other women have gone to the big recreation room in the basement. Frank Fencepost is eating what left of the cake and sandwiches. I'm not sure whether it would be polite to turn on the television, even though Mr. Brown got cable vision, and I sure would like to run the dial over them 15 or so channels. This is 1983, after all. Instead, I decide to go look around the farm, not that I could see much in the dark. It is a pretty pale night. The moon turned everything silver and blue, and the northern lights bubble across the hills of stubble to the north. Hey. When I look back, the house is white as a ghost and glow like foxfire in the bright darkness. I heard that the white aluminum siding for the house cost $12,000 all by itself. Ooh. It is real peaceful in the yard, really pleasant after I listen to people talk all day. I walk alongside the corral, which got only one old pony and a milk cow in it. They move a little. The cow raise her head a couple of times so I can hear her hide ripple. Sorry, adjustings. Past the corral is a little ravine full of scrub poplars and red willow. I figure to walk across it and maybe climb to a hill where I can get a good view of the northern lights. I walk down the side of the ravine, the dry leaves crackling loud. Then off to the right, something catch my eye. What is odd is that there ain't nothing there. I mean, there is a piece of ground at the foot of the ravine, a flat spot about 6 by 4 that been scraped clear of leaves, and recently too, because it don't look like even one has blown back, the leaves, where the ground been swept. I stop and stare at that spot for a minute, try to figure what it could mean, when something happened that scared me as bad as I ever been scared. Ooh. That piece of bare ground creak and begin to rise in the air. I know that some people, like our medicine lady Mad Etta, are able to do magic, but I don't figure Etta to be anywhere around here. I could run, but I don't. My curiosity keep my feet dug in the ground like shovels. That slab of ground rise up until it at a right angle to the earth. I am maybe 6 feet behind it. For a minute I can't tell what is happening. Then I am able to see what is rising is sort of a cellar door, and that there is somebody crawling out on the other side. Ooh, I know there ain't really creatures that live in the earth, but still my heart sound like somebody dribbling a baseball on hardwood. I see the shape of a man pull himself from what must be a hole. He set something on the ground, turn and grab the edge of the door to close it down. But as he does, he stares straight ahead, and what he see is me staring back. Sorry, I stammer, I was just going for a walk. Who is it? Say the voice of Lester Brown. It's Silas, I say. Oh, he says, and I can hear him relax his body. I'm glad it ain't one of my family. They got no idea. ... there. Whatever he set on the edge, he quick push it into the pit. I was just going for a walk, I say again. Probably best if I keep right on going. Everybody got a right to their secrets, I figure. No, it's okay, Lester Brown say after a few seconds. You hang around with the old woman. This might be good for you to know. By the old woman, I know he means Mad Etta. I'm supposed to be Etta's assistant, but she's pretty slow to teach me things. She figures she going to live forever. Oh, she figures she going to live forever is the way Frank Fencepost put it. Damn right, Etta say to that, and she grinned big, her belly shaking when she laughed. Come over here, says Lester Brown. I move toward him, my legs still stiff, my feet dragging through the crusty leaves make me sound like a quiet running motorcycle. Hear you clear to Hobama and beyond, he say. Nobody ever learn you how to walk quiet? My friend, old Joe Buffalo, he showed me when I was a kid, but I'm wearing white man's shoes today, and you scared me, rising up out of the earth the way you did. Come around here and I'll show you what I got. As I move closer, the first thing I smell is leather. Lester Brown is dressed in soft brown leather, jacket and pants. He wear moccasins, have his hair tied at the back with a thong, and look to me like he wearing the beginnings of a breastplate. Whether it been bought in a store or is handmade from peeled birch or willow is hard to say. My first idea was to send you away, maybe even threaten you to keep quiet. But I know if I did, you'd tell your friends, and word would get back to my wife and kids. He braced himself on that upright lid and jumped back into the pit, not making a sound. The inside lumber is white, and it easy to see it's solid built. I got something down here I bet you never seen before. He stopped a second again before he bent to the bottom of the pit. I'm really glad it's you, Silas, and not your noisy friend who found me out. Yeah, Frank. Ugh. I'm not sure what it is I have found. I bent forward from the waist, looking down into a dark pit the size of a grave or bigger. For just a second I have the thought that maybe he just being nice so as to get me close and do me in. My nose catched the odor of herbs, like at Mad Etta's cabin, mixed with the damp and leather smell. All I can see is the top of Lester Brown's head. He don't wear a hat now, and the moon glint off the oil he always wear on his hair. See this? And he lifts something from the bottom of the pit, his hands held out in front of him, palm up like he was carrying a tray. The thing he holds is right by my feet. All I can see is a mixture of dark and light. Touch it, say Lester Brown, holding it close by my ankles. Ooh, okay, Fet. We'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye, bye-bye. I reach down. What I feel is soft and slick and scary. I pull my hand back quick as if I'd been shocked by electricity or touched by something dirty. When I lean down and look close, I see what I touched was feathers, my hand feeling with the grain so they felt smooth as enamel. Lester Brown let out a little laugh, a quiet one like he clearing his throat. Indians prayed to the eagle since the beginning of time, he say. Eagles are the best hunters, the fastest, the fiercest. You ever seen one dive for a rabbit? It flied like a knife cutting the air. They hit a rabbit so hard it don't even squawk. Once I seen 2 rabbits side by side, one get carried off by an eagle, but it happened so quick the other just hop a couple of steps and start eating again. An eagle hit hard and fast and fatal. Strangest thing to me is that in the middle of that speech, Lester Brown lapsed into Cree. I would have thought he forgot his Cree speaking. His kids don't speak our language at all, although the last few months June been getting Sadie to teach her a few words. I never seen an eagle, but from a distance, I say. I seen them circle up high like big dark alphabet letters. Sometimes way out on the prairie, I see their shadows on the hills, dark as cattle brands. Shake hands with a real one, says Lester. I reach down and touch the feathers again. My hand feel like it is stroking silk. My eyes are pretty used to the dark by now, so I see what Lester offering up to me is not a live eagle, but the carcass of a dead one. You're not supposed to have that, are you? I hear myself saying. There are laws, all kinds, against killing eagles or selling their feathers. I think it even illegal to have eagle feathers in a headdress, no matter how you claim you have got them. Lester made that little laugh again. You never done anything that the white man says is illegal. Then he sort of unrolled that eagle. Oh, he's saying it, sorry. You never done anything that the white man says is illegal? Then he sort of unrolled that eagle for me to see. The head is white, the beak shine yellow, the rest of the body is the color of dark tree bark, except for the legs, which again is bright yellow. I bet that bird got over a 6-foot wingspan. Mad Etta know how to preserve a bird the way Lester Brown done this eagle. All the insides and meat and stuff is gone, but the bones and feathers and skin is there, all cured with herbs, tanned and preserved. If we was still to have old-fashioned kinds of ceremonies, why, a warrior could wear this eagle skin over his head and look like the fiercest man in the tribe. Used to be an eagle society in our ermine skin tribe, but most of the societies died out a long time ago, or got to the point where the members meet at Blue Quills Hall, play cards, and drink beer. I guess I done a few illegal things, I say, and it is my turn to laugh quiet. It is for my religion, Lester say, looking down at the eagle. Hello, Natsu, welcome in. I'm doing good. How are you? Just gonna keep on reading. So Lester says it's for his religion. I thought you was Catholic, I say. I'm sorry as soon as I say it. I got to remember to think before I say things that embarrass me. Mad Etta, she tell me when someone say something to you, keep your mouth shut until you repeated it once in your head. Then, if you still don't know what to say, repeat it again out loud. It give you time to think, and people like to hear their own words repeated back to them. So he should have said, it's for your religion, instead of, I thought you were Catholic. I thought I was too, at one time. Weren't you? Say Lester. Government have listed me as one. I think they just list all Indians as Catholic. None of my family ever go to church, Silas says. At one time I figured the more I could imitate the white man, the better off I'd be. That's what they taught us at the reserve school and at the church. Taught the same thing at the university. They show you how to keep the land under control with chemicals and crop rotation. They don't come right out and say so, but they imply that the old ways ain't no good. You ever hear what pound makers say about the white man? The land is not his brother, but his enemy. Yes. The light has been slow coming to me, Silas. Once a man commits himself to the white man's way, he's trapped. He can't undo a whole lifetime of teaching, like maybe taking off a shirt. I married a good woman who likes to do things the white way. I sought out that kind of woman. I can't bring myself to tell any of my family that I've come to believe in the old ways again. Oh, I'm sorry to hear you've been struggling, Natsu. I'm glad you're doing pretty good now. I hope you feel good and cozy and comfy here, and I hope everybody gives you all the best energy right now. I'm sending you a hug. Let's get the hug. We have a hug command. Come on, I have to type. Reach. No, help me. There you go. There you go. I give you hug. Hugs to Natsu. Okay. He says he doesn't want to tell everybody he believes in the old ways again. Lester Brown climbed up from the pit, still holding the eagle carcass. Know the first part of the eagle that I put in my medicine bundle? He asked. I shake my head. The tongue. And he pat the fat leather pouch what dangled from his belt. The old woman, that would be Mad Etta, medicine woman, showed me how to preserve it. It looked fresh as the day I killed this eagle. I never knew that Etta... ... Lester Brown smiled. When I was real troubled about the way my life was going, I went to see the old woman. Knocked on her door in the dark of night after making sure no one was awake to see me. I was that ashamed of what I was doing. I never knew, I say again. The old woman promised me. Her word is solid as the mountains. It was her idea for me to get this eagle. I mean, even though I know what the white man knows, I still believe in the power of the eagle. To our people in the long past, birds were magic because of their flight, their music. I killed this eagle with an arrow, Lester say, holding up the carcass and spreading the wings. Had to learn to use the bow like a real warrior. After I killed it, I did something the old woman taught me. You know, sometimes she come out of the hills deep in the night. We sit in the wheat field, watch the stars, and listen to the life all around us. After I killed this eagle, I talked to it. I apologized for killing it. I told it why I had to kill it, and how it was going to serve a grander purpose than it ordinarily would have. And I asked it to forgive me for shortening its life. And did it? I got a feeling like fresh spring water was flowing where my blood used to be, and I suddenly was able to hear and see and taste everything clearer than I ever could before. I took that as a sign. Oh, that is so sad. Those numbers are bad. Try the roll. Try the roll, Natsu. Maybe you'll get a better number there instead of the bad numbers. Sorry. The bot lies. Okay. Took that as a sign. You should tell the rest of your family. They'd understand. They're Indians. I wasn't exactly telling the truth when I said nobody in the family knew. There was June. ... He stopped. The lines on his face deepening, his grief like war paint, there for me to see. She found me out the same way you did. After that, she would come down here with me late in the night. June was smart. She went to Edmonton to the university, found some books on Indian history and customs. Those books had stuff in them that even the old woman didn't know. They wrote about all the parts of the eagle and how each part have a significance in Indian religion. She copied down the list, and her and me memorized it. I'm really sorry about June, I say. She had her own medicine bundle. I sneaked it into the coffin when I had the chance. She would have liked to be buried like an Indian instead of a white, but I don't have the nerve yet to do what I have to. June was good as you at keeping secrets. Sadie was her close friend, and I didn't know. After death, the spirit is carried away by an eagle. Did you know that? I guess, I say. Ooh, see, Natsu, you rolled an 18. There you go. There you go. Aw, there's a better love. There you go. You can take that love for yours. It's better than the last one. Oh, and yeah, Natsu, there's a steep cooldown for the love, so because you already did it, it's not going to go again, but yeah. Okay. Says he guess he knew that the spirit is carried away by an eagle after death. It got to be arranged just right. The old woman must have had some vision of what was going to happen. Otherwise, why would she have told me to get an eagle? Did she ever mention Edda's secrets are secrets, I say. Yeah, says Lester, 2 brown bears. Aw, that's nice of Silas, going back to his old name now that he knows that that's what he would prefer. Nodding solemnly, he said. I'm going out to the big hill, and he point off to the north, to where I can see all the way to the mountain on a clear day. I got to see that her spirit get carried off proper. He stare at me, his face still solemn. If you want, you could come along. I'll teach you the spirit ceremony and the parts of the eagle and what they mean. I look out across the silver fields toward the hill he is talking about. I'd like that, I say. The end. I love that one. That one's sweet. He was gonna go off to the hills anyway, just was picking which hill to go to for his big noise. Oh no. Oh, sorry. He was gonna go off to look at the lights, so might as well go off with the guy there. But all right, there you go. Thanks for the gesture. I'm gonna say 87% for random guess. That's cute, Cage. All right, so we'll do some more redeems. Is this an American story? That was Canadian, kind of. They're based in Alberta in a reserve. So this is The Moccasin Telegraph and Other Stories by W.P. Kinsella. This is an author of a bunch of different short stories, Indigenous stories. So this is a fictional little reserve and group of people, but it's kind of based on different living, and yeah, it's really sweet. We read one book already in different sessions, and then we've got this new one that we just started today, and we're going to keep reading through it for the rest of this stream. I'm just going to adjust before we get settled in for the redeems. I'm just going to be shuffling about. Oh, yes, there you go. Thank you for stretch. I'm stretching. So both Canada and the United States wiped out almost all of the natives because it was how the colonizers showed up. And then there were different systematic ways that they did their best. They kind of mentioned it at the start of that one where, they are teaching you it would be better to be white stuff slowly. They tell you that in different ways. We had a different story where they called out, if you're Native, you're probably Catholic. That was kind of one of the things. They had residential schools that were Catholic schools where they plucked up the kids, sent them away to this school where they forced them to speak English, and they were abusive and other different bad stuffs going on, and tried to just make sure that they were not doing their indigenous culture stuff. But the thing is, they still persist. There's still different things. Both have the same problem. In both cases, there were different schools. I think Canada had more residential schools open longer. But in both cases, there were awful treaty difficulties where they, they kind of were tricky about selling the land and such, and then shoving them onto reserves. Not always, even good pieces of land, but also very different to what they are typically living on. It's all complicated, but Indigenous people still exist everywhere. It's just not all of the same groups. So there was a whole bunch of different nations, different groups of Indigenous people that they had their own. It was a whole 2 continents they were occupying before other people showed up, right? And so a lot of those different nations have died down or, changed away because they got swallowed up. They got so small they kind of just bopped into another group. Yes, but that's pretty consistent with both North and South America because it happened most significantly before the U.S. and Canada were what they are now. They were just a bunch of little colonies. That's where the most significant destruction happened, and then it is the manipulation and destruction of culture that happened by the time that they were properly separate countries. So they're both bad for the killing, but the way that the culture and the trauma happened, yeah. And I don't particularly want to say one is worse than the other because I could say the same for the slavery thing with African peoples that came to the continent. They were both bad. Canada likes to think that they were better because they changed laws and the railroad, the Underground Railroad, went off to Canada, but it still had its problems too. Yeah, but okay. The next one was something about butterflies, so I'm excited about that. But for now, we'll do the redeems. And then we'll get back to that one. We've got Singing Frog, Bottle Blow, Mic Arm, Humming. Okay. We'll get going with Singing Frog. Alright. Come here, little wooden boy. Come back, always. Alright, wait. Let's do that. You're not a reading. We do not read frog. We play the frog. Okay, here we go. There we go with our frog. Good little ribbit, sir. His chunky toes always get me. Bottle Blow. Let's go. Okay, now this one could very easily make me sleepy or just like need to recover because sometimes the way the air circulates, you lose your breath. But let's hope I do it well. Okay. I tried to. I can't quite get enough. Okay. I can tell I've been doing lots of the breathing. It gets all cloudy on the glass. I worry. Oh, lighthead. Oh, okay. Oh, mic arm sharpening. Yes, 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 we can do. Mic arm sharpening. Okay. Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna move the mic. It's gonna be noisy and all over, but here we go. Pretty good. Pretty good. Okay. Alright. Alright, and then I think our last one is humming. Here we go. Alright. Oh. Okay. Our last one is humming, right? Yes, 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 it's humming. Oh no. Big yawns, oh goodness. Oh. Okay, what are we gonna hum? What are we gonna hum? Okay, what? Sorry. Okay, sorry. Alright. Alright, there was our humming. Gonna go ahead and go back to our story. So now we're gonna jump into come along. Next story is title Setting Free the Butterflies. I knew it was butterflies, but I didn't remember. Setting Free the Butterflies. Okay. Let's get that up on the screen for you guys. Alright, here we go. Actually, you know what? I'll do this. So we can see my frog friends. Little buddies hanging out with us. Even though we had a dark story recently. You get spooked at that. And we're reading, not triggers. Okay, we'll settle back in. And then I need to keep an eye on for ads. Cage, if you can make sure that we don't have an ad run in the story, that would be helpful, because I know when I've got the book in my hand, I'm especially bad at noticing if there's ads coming up. Okay. Setting free the butterflies. Sometimes it is unlucky to be born with rich parents. Archie Califo's parents is rich, at least compared to everybody who come from Ermineskin Reserve, though by white people standards they would just be average. Bert Califo, Archie's father, graduated the reserve school maybe 25 years ago. And though his grades was only fair, there was a shortage of teachers that year. He got to take a 6-week teacher training course at the University of Edmonton and go right out into a school. He got assigned to a school in Wetaskiwin where he teach shop and one course in health. If you have a steady job for 25 years and you don't spend any money on liquor, you can get together a lot of possessions. Califos own a 4-bedroom house on a nice street, have good furniture, 2 cars, and cable vision, just like white people. But what Bert Chalifo? I've been saying Califo. Maybe Chalifo, is it? I'll say Chalifo. Bert Chalifo want most of all is for his kids to go out and beat the world. Sure strange for a man like that to get a son like Archie, who want only to play the harmonica. Oh boy. Archie is about my age and went to school in Wetaskiwin. His whole family could be white except for their name and their looks. I hardly know Archie except to see him on the street, until one time there was a talent show at Blue Quills Hall on the reserve. Ooh. Ooh. Sorry, I've been almost primarily this communicating spermander. Aww. Yes, snoozing ads if I miss it. That's it. Or whoever else is around, but Vet is off. I know. But okay, I it's all right. I'll try and remember. Okay. It is for Indians only, but no one say it ain't for Indians who live off the reserve. They say for the talent show at Blue Quills Hall, and so Archie, I guess, who lives off the reserve, gets to join. Archie Chalifo is already full-growed, but only about 5'6", and skinny as a sand crane. He got a pinched face the color of sandpaper, and his eyes are muddy-colored, as if some blue trying to push up through the brown. He got a button of a nose, turned up at the end. It easy to tell by look at Archie that there was a Frenchman in the woodpile a generation or 2 ago. At Blue Quills Hall that night, he was due on stage after Carson Longhorn and Molly Thunder finish a prairie chicken dance that shake dust out of the boards of the stage. There must be 200 people in the hall sitting on wax-colored folding chairs in rows run all the way to the back door. Ryder Stonechild, who is master of ceremonies, just say, "Now here's a young fellow named of Archie Chalifo." Archie walk out all alone, kind of tiptoe toward the silver microphone that stands at the front center of the stage. He wears a pair of dark green cords, I guess corduroys, and has made himself a shirt of green crepe paper and a funny little hat of the same stuff. Okay. He smiled kind of a silly grin. No one knows what he's going to do. Archie stands still for a long time, and some of us get worried that he forget why he's there. Then he pulled from his pocket a small harmonica, the kind they sell at Kmart for $5, put it up to his face, and start to make music. He began with Turkey in the Straw, move on to Old Joe Clark, and finally to the Orange Blossom Special, the music getting faster and wilder with each song. Archie is really only wearing running shoes, but I picture green shoes just like his shirt, the kind with the toes turned up like elves is supposed to wear. He danced sort of a jig as he played, tap his feet to the music, swing himself around, his skinny arms moving in awkward motions as if they was made of a coat hanger wire. By the time he playing Orange Blossom Special, the crowd both stamping and yelling along with him, until the whole building vibrate. I sure hope the floor ain't going to collapse, 'cause there is to be a lunch later and all the food is in the basement. The prizes was decided by applause at the end of the evening. The contestants stood in a row and Ryder Stonechild held a yardstick over the head of each one. Archie come in second, but it only because Carson Longhorn and Molly Thunder, hey, you spelt Molly differently this time. It's looking like maybe in this book, his teacher didn't do the spell check and all that for him. But okay. Oh, okay, go ahead, Lurk, go bed. Sleep well. Sorry, I focus. Archie come and say, because Carson and Molly Thunder is related to almost everybody on the reserve. Yes, fair. He won $25 for his trouble. Boy, you sure know how to play that thing, I say to him, as we standing around in the Blue Quill's basement, eating egg sandwiches and drinking coffee. Thanks. And he smiled, screw his nose all up as if he was making a face. I always wish I could play music of some kind. I may have to step away in a second, actually. I always wish I could make music. No, wait, I skipped ahead. He says, I always wish I could play music of some kind, or sing, but I got no ear, I say to him. Who is that guy? Connie Big Charles say to me after he finishes playing. Boy, he can scare the dogs away from in front of my cabin any time. I guess, Connie says. I guess that's one reason I wish I could make music. Girls always like musicians. I mean, Archie is not strong or good-looking or anything like that, but a lot of girls stare at him as if he was something special. I bet he could have chose from 6 or 8 girls to go home with, but he just smile a faraway smile, take their thanks, and don't make a move on none of them. Turns out he hitchhiked down to the reserve, so I give him a ride back to Wetaskiwin when the evening is over. Drop me off at the corner, he say. I don't want my old man to see me get out of the truck. I told him I was studying with a friend. He'd have a fit if he knew where I was. He don't like my playing the mouth organ. Why not? Wants me to be an architect or a veterinarian. Good jobs that make lots of money. Musicians make good money too. I don't give a care about making money. I just want to make music. I like it when people listen and enjoy what I do, but even their liking it don't matter. If I'm out in the woods all alone and just playing for the poplars, it's all right with me. And he smiled that silly grin of his again, crinkle up his face like a monkey. Okay, I'm going to pause there, and I have to be right back. And I guess that's a perfect time for the ad to run, because I'll have to do the be right back. So, all goods. But okay. I do the be right back. Why does that look weird? I wanna. Oh no, I didn't mean that. Okay. There we go. Boop. I don't like it being so high up because it's blocking the... Anyway, okay. Bye-bye. I gotta be right back. Alright, I'm back. Doo-doo-doo. So sorry I was a ways. But, okay, I'm back. Alright, we are still reading Setting Free the Butterflies. Our buddy is talking about how he just wants to play his harmonica, but his parents don't really like that. And Silas is talking to him about that. And then, here we are. I guess I know what Archie means. Once I visited Vancouver. On a street corner there, in a little stone triangle covered in pigeon droppings that's called The Corner, there was an Indian man, call himself Red Raven. His face was all boiled by alcohol, and when he walk he lurch as if he'd been drunk for years, but he carry his fiddle proud as if it was a sword, and he unwrap it from its beat-up case gentle as if he taking a baby from its buggy. When he play, I could tell he was happy and that nothing else in the world mattered to him except making music. He'd tap his foot and make that fiddle talk until I could most see the notes rising up like steam, drifting toward the city sky, all crisscrossed with electric cables and trolley wires, until it looked like that part of the city closed in by a ceiling of prison bars. Most people would say Red Raven was just an old drunk Indian, but when he fiddled, he was special. He knew it, and so did the people who watched him play. I tell Archie about Red Raven. I've been playing all my life, Archie says. I got a little red plastic kazoo in my Christmas stocking when I was about 4. When I blew it into it, a tune came out, and I knew what it was like to be happy. But my old man's always hated what I do, he go on. I remember how one time he caught me making music in my room under the covers after I figure everyone in the house had been a long time asleep. I was tootling like a fiend, trying to sound like a freight train clacking over the rails. I guess I forgot myself and broke into the Orange Blossom Special, and even the quilts and the walls couldn't keep the sound from getting to the other rooms. I quieted down when I heard my father's bedroom door open. I quieted down when I heard my father's bedroom door open and his big feet slapping the floor. He jerked open the door, rip off the blankets, and there I am, lying on my back with my hands cupped around my harmonica. He didn't hit me, just grabbed the mouth organ and clomped off down the hall. I ran to my window and looked out. I couldn't see him, but I could hear the front door open, and I saw the organ go flying in an arc out across the lawn and street, the moonlight sparking off it a few times, making it look like a silver bird. I don't see Archie for a few weeks, until one night me and my friends coming out of the Alice Hotel bar about midnight, and there he is on the street corner playing his harmonica. He got his long-billed red cap sitting on the sidewalk, and there's a few coins in it. Connie Big Charles asked to hear the Lumberjacks polka, and her and Frank dance around real fast while Archie play. He looked kind of mauve-colored because of the street light he's standing under. As he plays, he hop around like a gnome and grin happy. I put $1 in his cap, the girls put in some change, and we managed to keep my friend Frank Fencepost from taking any money out. Oh, Frank. As I watch Archie play, I remember something else he say to me that first night as we drive up Highway 2A to Wetaskiwin. If I'd felt the way I do about the violin, not playing jigs and reels but classical music, or if I liked the cello or the flute, it would be okay with my parents. What it amounts to is they don't like what I do because it doesn't have any class. How rude. What Archie says is true. I can see his parents' side of the argument. Street musicians don't ever make any real money. But it's important people should do what makes them happy. In some ways, I identify with Archie, and in some ways I don't. It's nice when I read my stories to my friends and they like them, but it's nicer to see those stories in a bookstore where they earning me some money. It wasn't long after that Archie disappeared from town. I figured he'd gone off to play his music. It sure surprised me to hear he was at school in Edmonton studying to be a draftsman. Over Christmas holidays, I seen the whole family come out of St. Oh goodness, how do you say that? Bucephalus? Bucephalus? I don't know the saint. Or maybe Bucephalus? I don't know. Bucephalus Catholic Church. Archie all dudded up in a 3-piece suit with his hair cut just like his father and brother. I also hear that he's dating, and maybe he even getting serious about Judy makes room for them, who's studying to be a nurse's aide at that same school in Edmonton. I don't see Archie again until last Wednesday night. There is a knocking at the door of my cabin about midnight. When I open the door, he grin his monkey grin at me. The air is full of pine sap and spring water. I seen the first crocuses on the hill down to the slough the other day. Okay, sorry. So it's spring now. He saw him at Christmas holidays, and now it's spring. I'm on my way, Archie says to me. To where? Whatever direction my thumb points. Maybe to Vancouver. I hear the weather's warm there. I just wanted to say goodbye. I figure you probably understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. You may be the only one who does. I heard you was doing pretty good. Got a girl? I gave it a try. For most of a year I went to school, worked part-time, and I really care about Judy, but I can't live that way. I'm not meant to. I thought maybe since you showed your good intentions, your father might meet you halfway. Oh, I have conversations with him all right. I tell him what I think and feel, and he ignores me. All he's interested in is my being a success. He read somewhere that a son should rise above his father, and that's what he insists on. It's not me he's worried about. He's mad at me because I make him feel like a failure. My brother Doug is in third-year university, got accepted into the law faculty. Gladys has finished grade 12 and going to be a nurse. He even picked out Judy for me because she's going to make something of herself. He won't be happy until he makes a professional out of me, too. What's so great about what you've got? I've asked him. He hates his job. He said to... So this is what... Oh my gosh, my brain. I've already forgot your brain. Your name? Archie. This is what Archie is still saying to Silas. But he says, what's so great about what you've got? I've asked him. He hates his job. He said so 1,000 times. He teaches a bunch of snotty grade 9 boys how to make trays out of sheet metal or turn a chisel handle on a lathe. The kids call you old wagon burner. You must know that, I said to him. They make fun of you behind your back. You're a perfect example that owning a lot of things doesn't make for happiness, but you want to push Doug and Gladys and me into the same mess you're in. There are worse things than being poor. Not many, he said to me, and then he told me his life story again, all about how he suffered and made good anyhow. This sounds like your biography? Oh, yikes, Brady. Okay, You can do anything you set your mind to, he's always told us kids, but it only counts when what I want to do meets his expectations. If he'd just once say to me, I'd like for you to be happy, Archie, that would make all the difference in the world. I could walk away proud instead of sneaking away in the middle of the night. His voice is getting pretty loud. This is now Silas again, finally. His voice is getting pretty loud, so I suggest we go for a walk. I put on my down-filled jacket and we walk away from the cabins into the tall pines. There is a full moon, and it sends down shafts of silver light. Look like there are guy wires tied to some of the trees. I remember how, when I first attended the tech school, after I wrote only 2 or 3 stories for Mr. Nichols, a guidance counselor from Edmonton visited the school. Each one of us get a 5-minute interview. I mean, he had one bit of advice for everybody. Graduate from the course you're taking, go to Canada Manpower, and they will help you find a job. Really frickin' helpful, guidance counselor. When I tell him I think I'd like to write stories, he actually laugh at me. Then he smile at me like I was 7 years old and explain in a loud voice so I'll understand better that writing stories might be a good hobby, but I should finish becoming a diesel mechanic, get a good job, buy a house and a car before ever thinking of writing in the evenings. I'm sure glad I didn't listen to him. It's a hard choice, Archie go on. Judy says she loves me, but she only laughs when I suggest she might come with me. He kind of skip ahead of me, turn and walk backwards. Judy been raised in a 4-bedroom house, and her old man drives a Chrysler. She expects me to provide for her the same way. I don't know if you can imagine it, Silas, but when I play music, it feels like my chest is full of butterflies. Remind me of ones I've seen on mobiles or in the little kids' rooms. The butterflies hover suspended, tinkle and twirl, and make sweet music as their wingtips touch. I have to set them free. I feel like it's my duty to set them free, and the only way I can do that is by playing the harmonica. When I bend my head back and get my feet tapping, and the notes are flying around my head like showers of confetti, those butterflies rise up out of my chest, rows and rows of them flying up toward the sky. I can see them even though my eyes are closed. I think that's as close as a man can ever come to giving birth to something. Maybe you know what that's like, Silas. I know what that's like, I say. I could be a draftsman, stockbroker, or lawyer if I wanted to be, Archie go on, but I'd never set free a single butterfly. They'd flutter a bit and die, and nobody can live with their insides full of death. I know, I say. If I could only make my father understand how I feel. I've tried, but he doesn't really listen, and he looks at me like I'm from another planet. There, in the forest, Archie take out his harmonica. He got a better class one now, come from a music store. He looked like one of them characters out of a fairy tale, his hands cupped around his mouth, while his skinny legs dancing up and down on one spot, making time to the music. Nobody I ever heard can play the mouth organ the way he can. The music is like bubbling water, sweeter than a meadowlark call. Make me tingle all over, want to dance and sing and cuddle up to somebody I love, hold on tight and cry, part from sadness, part from joy. The notes is so clear and beautiful, I can almost see them, rising like silver butterflies, up through the pines, toward the night blue sky and the moon. That's the end of that one. Oh no, little paper. Ugh. There goes that bookmark, new one. Okay, well that was Setting Free the Butterflies. What do y'all think of that one? Now we have the next one's going to be the Ballad of the Public Trustee. The Ballad of the Public Trustee. I have a feeling this is one of those where they're going to make fun of somebody that's from outside, but I don't know. It's just a guess. With something like the Ballad, I'm excited. Okay. But we don't have any redeems right now, so does anybody have any redeems, or should I just jump in? I need to get up and kind of adjust, because the seat's a bit of a mess. I need to get redone my comfy, so I'll just mute and then try again. Oh, sticks rustle. Okay, so I'll do sticks rustle once I'm back in place. Hold on. Okay, well, alright, let's do the sticks rustle. Let's go ahead. If you've got any other redeems, we'll do that. But here we go. Alrighty. Okay, there was our Styx Russell. Hi, Generium. What a good entrance with 80. Ooh, with 81% Riz. Nice. And you give a hugs. Oh, thank you, Generium, for sending in some loves. Very good entrance. All right. If we've got no other redeems, I'll just jump into the next story. I can start typing it up. Do-do-do. There we go. The Ballad of the Public Trustee. Oop. There we go. That's our next story. There. So, that's what we're up to next. I'm starting to get the cozy EPs now. Oh, goodness. One sorry second. There we go. All right. I'm sorry. I get distracted. It was important, though. All right. The Ballad of the Public Trustee. Oh, we're back to Old Joe Buffalo. Oh, okay. So last time we had Old Joe Buffalo. He was really cool. And we made friends with him because his daughter, she unalived herself because of some awful things, and he took down the guy that was responsible in a very vigilante way, scary way, but he got the shit done, which, if you couldn't tell from my dear woman story in the past, kind of condone. Here we go with the Ballad of the Public Trustee. Last winter, my friend, Old Joe Buffalo, who had lived for most 100 years, died. Oh no! I just saw his name. I didn't see that. Oh. Well, that sucks. Okay. He was almost 100 years by the time he did. But, yeah. He had no relatives yet left. Sorry. What? Okay. He had no relatives yet left. Oh my god, why did I say that again? I'm going to try one more time. Why my bread brain no work? He had no relatives left. He outlived 3 wives, and his only daughter, Ruth, killed herself maybe 10 years ago. I guess you could say I was his closest friend. We done some secret things together over the years, and I even helped him die the way he wanted, like a man and a warrior, not like an old... I'm gonna go ahead and say this because it's in this, but okay. We don't want to promote saying this word a bunch, okay, guys? It is a slur. I even helped him die the way he wanted, like a man and a warrior, not like an old squaw in a white man's hospital. Who's gonna pay for this, welfare or the Indian affairs? Asked the man at the funeral home in Wetaskiwin. Old Joe be able to pay for his own funeral, I say, and take out a bank book Joe kept in a drawer in his kitchen table, show that he have over $40,000 in the Bank of Montreal in Wetaskiwin. The funeral man looked real pleased. He got sad bags under his eyes like a dog, and skin the color of newspaper. Are you a relative? No, just a friend. Well, send a relative around to sign the papers and pick out the coffin. Tell them to go to a lawyer and apply to get his will probated. He say to me in a loud voice in case I don't understand. You don't have no relatives, I say. None? None at all. You don't seem to believe me until I explain that Joe never had no brothers or sisters, and that everyone else close to him is dead. That's bad, say the funeral man. Bump his pink palm against his white forehead. That means the public trustee will be involved. It may take years before we get paid. Oh, poor you. Hey, don't worry, I tell him. Old Joe, he let it be known he want his land and stuff to go to me. I'll pay you soon as the bank let me at the money. He smiled at me like I was a dog, just used his leg for a lamppost. If you're not a relative and he left no will, you'll never get a cent out of his estate. I never thought much about that before. Old Joe tell me what he want done, and his word be worth more than that $40,000 in the bank, but the funeral man's words get to me. And as I leave there, I feel a little like I did the time I got thrown off a bronc at the Rimbley Rodeo. I lay on the ground, and I could see everybody standing around me, and I could hear them talk, but I couldn't move or speak, and I felt like I was never going to be able to breathe again. Joe's 160 acres is all paid for and worth more money than I ever dreamed. Me and my girlfriend Sadie One Wound gonna live there in old Joe's cabin, and I either farm the land or let it stay rented. And I could buy us a car. But I stopped that daydream. I should have knowed the white man going to rip me off if there any way it can be done. Back at the reserve, I run right to Mad Etta, our medicine lady, find her sit on the tree trunk chair in her cabin, drinking coffee right out of her gray enamel coffee pot. I tell Etta what the funeral man told me. Who is this public trustee guy? She say. I don't know. Some government man, I guess. Well, you find out and take me to him. Old Joe told me how his possessions was to be divided up. That Mr. Public Trustee will want to know. Old Joe promised me ever since I was a boy of 10 or so that one day he's gone, the farm will be mine. One day when he's gone, the farm will be mine. I helped him with his chores and stuff, and he teach me what he know of the old ways of our people. Me and Sadie sometimes sat around his cabin when Joe was outside, pretending it was our own place, and talk about how we manage it. Sadie want first of all to get bright-colored wallpaper like she seen at the Robinsons department store in Wetaskiwin, and curtains for the window, the kind on a string so you can pull them back and forth. We have to go all the way to Edmonton to find this public trustee, and then we find it ain't one person but a whole department. They located in one of the big government buildings downtown, and when we get there, Etta and me, we talk to a pretty girl, have a red ribbon in her hair, who say she gets somebody look after us. The man she send out smell like cherry candy, and he be an Indian, only one of those that come from the Pakistani tribe. Wow, okay, so Pakistani tribe on the other side of the earth, not the same guy, and not even Indian, he's Pakistani. I always wonder why the government offices be full of those kind of Indian and never any of our kind. The man, Mr. Lal Ravender, or maybe his name was the other way around, Ravender Lal, wear a tight suit with a collar fit right to choke him. His face looked like it been waxed and his cheeks puffed out, maybe because of his tight shirt. I explained the whole story to him, right from the time old Joe died. He looked puzzled at me for a long time, then he smiled real bright. Did you do work on the farm? Yes, sure. I did lots of chores for old Joe the last few years. Did he pay you, please? Say the varnish-faced Indian. No. Oh, then you are entitled to compensation for your work done, and he smiled like someone just showed him what sex was all about. Okay. You can file a claim for compensation against the estate. I don't want to be paid for that work. I done that because Joe was my friend. You don't file a claim for work you done for love. You would be able to claim for services rendered, please, he insists. That's not what I asked about, I explain. I'm not owed wages. Then you must get one of his relatives to come in and talk to us. I feel like I'm staring in one of them funny mirrors at the Calgary Stampede Midway. This fellow ain't understood anything I've said to him. He has no relatives, I yell. First big all caps here. Not to speak harshly, please. Mad Etta rumbled up to the counter. You know what a lawyer is? She asked that Indian, whose eyes get big when he see the size of Etta. Oh yes, please, say Mr. Lal. Well, in Indian country, I'm a lawyer, and I fry 3 small fish like you for breakfast every day, so bring me your boss, real quick, please. Sass him right good. Thank you, Etta. That little fellow scuttle away. Pretty soon, 2 big men with bald heads and necks like turkeys come and talk with us. We have to tell our story all over again. They are more civil, but they say that rules is rules, and they don't recognize no Indian law. If Joe don't leave the land and money to me, in writing, then it look like it gonna belong to the government. Oh, fuck, no. What the government will do, they say, is pay off Joe's debts from his money in his bank. Then they put up the farm, buildings, and equipments for sale by tender, whatever that mean. And if that don't work, they sell the farm by a real estate man. All the money they get go to the government, be buried forever in some dark place. We are sure sad when we leave there. Later on, down at the Indian Friendship Center in Edmonton, Dave Smallface give me the card of a lawyer who been around saying he like to help out us Indians. His office is in a real old building downtown, and the elevator grunt and groan its way up with me and Mad Etta inside, because she's possibly the limit of that elevator, but okay. That's it. I saw the little bot thing, and I was like, ooh, no, is bot, okay. The glass in his office door is ice-colored and rough as a carrot grater. His name is printed in black behind that ice. Edward J. Shadbolt, B.A., LL.B. Shadbolt ain't been in business very long, and we can still smell sawdust in his office and see where partitions been moved around. A bell tingles when we open the outside door, and Mr. Shadbolt himself come out to meet us. Say he ain't even hired a secretary yet. He be awful young for a lawyer, have wide-spaced eyes, and an expression on his face like he just stuck his head through a curtain to surprise somebody. I tell him my whole story. By this time, I'm getting tired of it. You're sure there isn't anything in writing? A letter, perhaps, something where Mr. Buffalo might have just mentioned his wish to have the farm go to you. Old Joe could only write his name. The letters didn't mean nothing to him. He only copied what somebody showed him was his name, I say, hoping that this guy at least understood and won't make me go over the story again. Don't need no letters, say Etta. Joe Buffalo told me. That's how it was done in the old days. If your family was gone, your chief or your medicine man look after things like that. The land was to go to Silas here, along with half his money. The other half was to go to the Catholic Church in his dead daughter's name. Not because old Joe liked the church, but because she did, and he loved her a lot. Did you write down his request? Did he sign it? No need, say Etta. I got a memory like an otter trap. I remember the whole thing. I just told you. The lawyer made a bad face. I have no legal argument, he say. Verbal agreements hold no water with a court, so unless you can come up with some documents, and his voice faded away like turning down the volume on a radio. I feel like could none of these people just give them a look like, yeah, okay, I understand that you guys don't work that way. That's what they need. So what we're going to do is you're going to go write something down, and you're going to be like, old Joe says to do this. And then you're going to have him write with his left hand, and he's going to say, old Joe. And they're not going to know shit. That's all they needed to do. That's all they needed to do. Come on. Okay. Anyway. Fine. Okay. How about Indian law? Asks Etta. Silas here read somewheres that they recognize medicine men as regular doctors. Must be the same with lawyers. What do you know about that? The lawyer shake his head. I don't know anything about Indian law. If there is such a thing, it is not recognized by the Canadian courts. We all sit silent for a minute. Then the lawyer's face get to look like it have an idea behind it. Tell me about your family, Silas, he say. And I do, and he asks a lot of questions about how old everybody is, especially my mother. The only thing I can think of that we might be able to do, he say, would be if we get your mother to sign a statement saying that old Joe Buffalo was your real father. Then you would be entitled to inherit his estate. My father was still living at home back then, I say. Old Joe wouldn't mess with a married woman, and my mother... Yeah, this is the part we need to... Guys, finally getting it. We just gotta say that this is what happened. Okay, I'm not suggesting he did, says Mr. Shadbolt, but it would be a way for you to get what is rightfully yours. I don't want it that bad, I say. It was just an idea, he say. I didn't think you people were so particular about that sort of thing. Well, yeah, I mean that's going to say somewhere in the rules that that's what that happened. If only Etta had done the write down, that's the one that they should have done. Outside, while I'm shoving Etta into the back seat of a taxi, I get an idea of my own. I tell Etta, and she allow as it is a pretty good one. Etta is always for having other people do your work for you if you can arrange it. Oh, okay, here we go. We look up the offices of the Catholic Church, go there and tell them how this nice old man wants to leave them $20,000. Yes, that's the way to do it. Get them, because they're going to fight for it and they're going to have the power. Oh, good move, good move. Go there and tell them how this nice old man want to leave them $20,000, but the government say it's going to take all that money for itself. The more money people got, the more they like to get, say Mad Etta after we is outside, loaded down with promises that they look into the case real thorough. Ain't nobody I ever met as rich or greedy as the Catholic Church, say Etta. Well, there's a lot richer and greedier now, at least, but okay. So we can be sure they'll do everything they can to get more. And if they help us on the way, well. And she smiled right around to the back of her neck. Okay, now we got a plan. Now we got something. Joe's farm just sit vacant all summer and fall. The hollyhocks are tall in front of the window, and the yard grow a carpet of chickweed and creeping Charlie, with big stalks of lamb's quarter sticking up like trees. I figure it all been forgot about when me and Etta and Sadie all get big fat registered letters full of legal-looking papers say we gotta go to court in Edmonton on a certain date. The church don't have just one lawyer, they got 4, all dressed like the dummies in the window of the tip-top tailor store in Wetaskiwin. The 2 old lawyers each have a young lawyer just to carry their books and briefcases. The trial take place in a little tiny courtroom, and it is called a civil case of Archdiocese of Edmonton versus Government of Alberta. It sure ain't exciting. I understand English pretty good, but they might as well be talking German or Polish for all I can make out of it. Yeah, because they've got all the legalese. We all get to tell us stories over and over. Finally, they tell us to go home, that the judge is going to reserve his decisions, whatever that mean. I should have my friend Frank Fencepost there. He could make some jokes about reserve decisions. Like reservation decision. Across the highway from the reserve, where old Joe's land is, and for a long way both east and south, the farms is all owned by a company, not local farmers. A year or so ago, me and Frank Fencepost was driving a side road when we seen a little concrete block building off in a wheat field on one of them company farms. There was a pickup truck beside the building, so we drove in, and the man there take us inside. There was no windows, just a tiny desk lamp and a bluish light from a television set, only it didn't show regular TV shows like Dallas, but it was what the man called closed circuit. Over in the corner was a machine with a red and green flashing lights. Looked like the inside of an airplane I seen once. The man tells us that he run 10,000 acres of wheat farm from that concrete box. The TV tell him all he needs to know about weather, planting, spraying, and harvesting, and if he want anything else, he just have to punch in numbers on that machine, what he called a green thumb box. Hi Jamaican uncle, welcome in. Why, from right there, that man, pale and weak, looking as he was, could send out combines to gobble up the wheat, spit it into trucks, and send it off to market. You're kind of like God, ain't you, says Frank. The man nod. Could you make it rain, partner? I asked. He only smiled, but I bet he could have. He can send it out a pivot, that's what he can do. And what it is those people called computer farmers who buy up Joe's place. Oh no. I guess the government, when it make up its mind, can be even tougher than the Catholic Church. Damn it. Nobody cares, and it make me awful mad. It all been decided by white men who don't know nothing about an old man's mind. It ain't right that they can take away for themselves what's supposed to be mine. I really wish what someone could have done is, okay, so you need this or this. We don't have that. And then they say, okay, look, I understand that you guys don't do it that way, so we're gonna write it now, but we gotta pretend that this is always how it would have been. As opposed to, oh, we'll pretend that's your dad, which would be a more solid way to argue that. This would at least be, something else that they could do. But okay. It ain't right that they can take away for themselves what was supposed to be mine, but who do I fight? It's like I've been tossed in water where I can watch myself drown, but I can't move to stop it. Boy, you're crazy is what Frank say to me when I tell him what I'm gonna do. Oh no, what you gonna do now? But you know me, I like to help you do crazy things, that's Frank. And he slapped my back and give me a punch on the arm. Frank Fencepost has this here gift. He is able to open most locks just by looking at them, or at least by twisting a piece of wire or tinfoil off a cigarette package. Late in the night, we drive a few miles south and a few miles west to where a road construction crew is working. It is that time after the first frost and before the snow, what people call Indian summer. The sky is clear, and frost make the grain stubble look like white whiskers. There ain't no farmhouses around, and the construction equipment stands silent in the moonlight, look big and scary as dinosaurs. I pull Louis Coyote's pickup truck off the road and turn off the lights. Which one do you want? Says Frank. Ooh. I pick the one that got wheels taller than me and a big scraper on the front of it. Frank climb up on it, looks small as a little boy. In a minute, there is a roar loud as an earthquake in a junkyard as the machine come to life. Frank turn on its light and the beam must shoot 100 yards ahead, look like it's shining from the top of a bridge. Frank show me how to shift the gears so's I can drive it. I'll follow a mile or so behind. If the RCMPs come along, you can run cross-country to the next section line road, and I'll pick you up there. It is about 10 miles to Old Joe's place. I feel like I'm riding a Ferris wheel as I drive along the gravel road, and then on Highway 2A up towards Hobama. At Joe's, I don't bother opening the gate. I just run straight over it, making the posts crack. And the barbed wires sing through the air. Staples screaming like shot rabbits as they pull out the tamarack posts. I stop in front of Joe's cabin and take one last look at it there in the moonlight, then drive right into it, as far as the machine will go. Back up and ram it again. That cabin break up like it was made of balsa wood. In 10 minutes I got it flat and scattered across the yard like bones been picked by wolves. After that I knocked down the corral fence and the barn and the 2 granaries. The small barn and the 2 granaries. Then I let my machine straddle a fence, and I take it down each way to the end of the quarter section. Finally, I shut the machine off and walk out to the highway. Way off in the bluey distance, I can see the weak lights of Lewis's pickup as Frank comes to take me home. When that big company take over the land, I want them to find it empty and accept that the buffalo be gone, as wild and open and lifeless as it was when old Joe first seen it nearly 100 years ago. Heck yeah. So, that one's a sweet one, at least to me. Screw you, government people not recognizing this stuff, not giving the right advice to get them, nobody's trying. Anyway, oh good. Well, feel free to lurk away, no rush about things. Oh, I already did that. Sticks Russell, I never said I did it. Oh, did you? I don't know what I'm doing. I figure I can do another stories. I thought I was going to go till 10, but things are slowing way down, and I'm not fully expecting why it slowed way down. But, yeah, if things are real slow, I do have to prepare for stuff tomorrow, and I do be a little bit eepy. So, do we try and stick around for another hour or not? It'd be a slow stream, not much going on. I think I should stick around, but I'm just like, oh, okay, oh goodness. The next short is called Where the Wild Things Are. Obviously not the same as the one that's the kid's storybook. Where the wild things are. Really up to you. I think it's a quiet, lazy day for a lot of people. It was a busy one for me. Yeah. I have to be busy to get ready for tomorrow. I have lots of stuff in the next couple days. And then I'll have maybe Sunday to be able to stream, and then a super busy week as well. It's just go. Yeah, super busy at work for me today. Relax now. That's good, you relax now. I think that's why everybody's got lots of busy, and so they're left to just finally relax now, and they're not feeling like doing much. They're just like, oh, I'll lurk, I'll hide. But yeah. I think I'll read Where the Wild Things Are now. There's no redeem, so might as well just jump into it. But let's see how long this one is. Ooh. Looks like it's pretty long. Oh boy. But okay, we'll do that. And where is? Oh, there. There is. I feel like I can't sit in this chair anymore. It feels like I'm broken and weird right now. Everything feels funny. Ugh. Oh, sternum crack. That's maybe why things felt funny. There's your ASMR of the chair cracking. Alright. Let's do Where the Wild Things Are. Let's go for it. I had to be up early for an apartment inspection, and I had to collab and about 3 dogs in 90-degree weather. Yeah. 3 dog walks in the 90-degree weather. About 32 degrees Celsius, I believe. And then the gaming with my girlfriend till a little bit ago. Thankfully, I didn't work my actual job, but my brain has been engaged most of the day on not an awful lot of sleep. Very fair. Very fair. Yeah, I guess that's just kind of how people's be feeling today. It's just I'm not doing much of anything. Fair enough. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Alright. What is happening? Oh, there. Let's do Where the Wild Things Are. And maybe redeems will come in between the next stories. Maybe not. It looks like this one will be slightly longer, but we'll see. Here we go. Me and my friend Frank Fencepost, we is walking down the main street of this town called Rocky Mountain House. We is laughing and taking turns pushing each other off the sidewalk and into the gutter when this big, long car pull up beside us. Boy, you don't even have to see who's driving to tell it is owned by rich people. It is one of those Chrysler Imperials, the color of thick cream, and it shined No. And it been shined to within an inch of its life. There was a polite little whir as the power window on the passenger side slid down. A man with a square red face, wearing a scarlet duck hunter's vest, stick his head out. "Can y'all tell us where we can find a good hunting guide?" the man says. I already peeked at the front of the car and seen that that it is from a foreign country called Alabama. "Can y'all tell us where we can find a good hunting guide?" There you go. Frank, he first stopped laughing, then he turned his back on the guy in the car for about 3 seconds. As Frank turned around, he straightened up, look about 7 foot tall. "You are in luck, white man," Frank says slow and clear. "I am fence post, chief of the—" He always claims chief, and it pisses me off. Okay. "Chief of the Onagachis. We are mountain people, all born to hunt and guide." Frank keep his shoulders back and stare down on the guy who is looking out the car window. I have to turn away to keep from laughing. I've seen Frank do this before. Trouble is, he never remember what tribe he say he come from. Oh no. Yep, here we go. "No kiddin'. You guys are really guides?" say the man. "And Onaguchi does not lie." He already messed it up, says Frank, raising up his hand as if he was a traffic cop. "Well, listen, we got our licenses and everything." "All right, no wait. Hold on, he's from Alabama. Hold on. No kiddin', you guys are really guides?" And Onagachi does not lie, or Onaguchi does not lie. "Well, listen, we got our licenses and everything, but the law says we can't go without a guide. And the guy who sold us the license says most of the guides are booked up." "Once again you are in luck, white man. My friend, standing silent in running water, and I have just finished guiding the famous Duke of Camrose for 2 weeks. But I warn you, we is expensive." Frank slapped his right hand across his heart and stared even harder at the man. "Well, money we got, but a guide we ain't. Consider yourself hired. Right, Cal?" says the man at the window. The man driving, who is lean and wearing a cowboy hat that touched the roof, nod his agreement. I'm just standing by the front feeder getting ready to run soon as Frank finishes his joke. "I mean, we hunt gophers with a .22 rifle, and once in a while we shoot a partridge and bring it home, but neither of us like to clean it, and even if Ma does cook it up, it don't taste nearly as good as Kentucky Fried Chicken. Cost you $2,000 for a week. Genuine Onondachi guides do not come cheap." From where I am, I can see both guys take a deep breaths. "Right," they say together. "We want you to take us where the wild things are." Oh, sorry, no. "Right," they say together. "We want you to take us where the wild things are." "500 in advance," says Frank. Stand and look solemn. They is both silent for a minute. Then the guy at the window say, "Hop in the back. We'll stop at the motel and get you the money." Oh my, every time I'm forgetting to give him the accent. I should. "Hop in the back. We'll stop at the motel and get you the money." I expect Frank to break and run, but instead he opened the back door and disappear into the car. Then his own window buzzed down, and he crook his hand for me to come closer. "Come here, standing silent in water," he says. "Call me Cy," I say, which, if you remember, is the nickname that his brother-in-law started giving him and he doesn't like. His white brother-in-law. Anyway, okay. "Good assistants are hard to come by," Frank says real loud. "Listen, standing in running water. I want you should go and visit our friend and fellow Onagachi, Vern Gautier. I will meet you after I have finished my business." I gotta say something, but Frank looks mean at me and says, "I have spoken." "Right, Chief," I say and give him the traffic cop sign. Frank winks at me at the window as the window whir up and the car glide away from the curb. I know exactly what Frank is talking about. We got a good friend here in Rocky Mountain House, name of Vern Gautier, who really be a hunting guide. I know enough to go over to Vern's and wait for Frank. Frank must be planning just to grab the money and run. I sure ain't in the mood for no hunting trip, even if the pay is good. Frank, when he talking to them hunters, be talking the way Vern Gautier teached us. Hey, don't you never tell my old lady I said this, but guiding is about 90% babysitting. What other babysitter you know makes $1,000 a week? It is Vern who tell us, when you're talking to hunters, always make like you learned English from listening to Tonto on the TV. That way they figure they got the real thing for a guide. I never let a hunter know I've been for 1 year to the university. Another guide out here, he writes poetry. Even had some of it printed up, but he never lets on when he's working. These Americans always have trouble with my name, so I just tell them call me Goat, and they do. Short for Gautier, which is a French name. It's spelt like Gauthier, Makes me sound tough. You always got to keep an advantage over those guys. I amble over to Vern Gautier's place, which be about a mile outside of town. Vern got what he call a lodge, but is really just a glorified bunkhouse. Vern look like a guide is supposed to. He is slim, got a cowboy hat low over his eyes, wear a leather vest, faded Levi's and boots. His face is weathered, his jaw square, and he squint up one of his eyes when he talks. You guys don't have a license. Get in plenty of trouble if you work as guides. Hey, this is me, Silas. You don't have to talk that way. This is me, Silas. You don't have to talk that way. Oh, yeah, he must have done. You guys don't have license. Get in plenty trouble if you work as guides, I think is what they're saying, that's kind of how they talk. But I'm not good at that. I don't want to do that one. Okay. Sorry, says Vern. I forgot who I was talking to. He laughs when I tell him how Frank got us the job. I'll loan you horses if you need them, and you can have some of my equipment if me or my men ain't using it. That fence post, he's going to be prime minister one of these days, honestly. Yeah. As we talk, 2 vehicles pull into the yard, that mile-long Chrysler and a safari truck that looks stuffed to the gills with every kind of equipment you can imagine. Frank grinning out from the window of that Chrysler, and it easy to see he stopped off at a store and spent some of our advance money. Instead of his green John Deere cap, he got on a black felt 10-gallon hat with an orange headband and a green feather wave up over the top. And he bought himself a thick orange blanket that he wrapped around himself. What we got here is fence post, chief of the Onagochis, I say to Vern. I'll buy that, he says, and walks over to the car. How? He says to the guy staring at the driver's window. How? Says Frank, knocking off his hat as he climbs out of the back. Instead of running shoes, Frank now wearing beaded moccasins that come up most to his knees. So, mucklucks, but anyway. I introduced Vern to the 2 hunters. Cal is one and Bobo's the other. Bobo? Call me Goat, says Vern, shaking hands very solemn-like. Welcome to my lodge. I have 1 room left. Then he quote a price about twice as much as I know he let rooms for. Just woke up from the dog bark. Oh, sorry to hear that. Oh, puppers, why you do it? Okay. Cal and Bobo decide to take it. It really funny, but what they get in half ain't half as nice as the Rocky Mountain House Hotel, where they already got a room. It be that word lodge, and us Indians is what make them decide. You are wise men, Vern says to the hunters. You have hired the best guides. Goat will give you his best room. Very brave guide you have. He say, pointing to Frank. Us Indians call him kills many bears without fear, but he prefer more modest name of fence post, chief of the Onagachis, I say. Very brave, says Vern. Onagachis, I say. How do these guys not know they're getting tricked? Okay. Very brave, says Vern, and though his face is straight, I can tell his chest is laughing by the way he breathes. Bobo, who is tall and lean and wearing blue-tinted glasses and about $1,000 worth of hunting clothes, is an accountant. Cal says he is a stockbroker, but when I tell him my papa one time worked at a Weller and Williams stockyards in Edmonton, he only laugh. Because that's a It's a different kind of stock, bud. Okay. Are there really bears around here? Asked Cal. Have no fear, says Frank. You have bravest guide in all of Northwest Territories. Me. And he beat his fists on his chest. Ah, thought we were in Alberta, says Bobo. That too, says Frank, because Northwest Territories is, different area. It's a territory. It's above Alberta. Anyway. Okay. That too, says Frank. Now dawn is the best time for hunting. Be ready 1 hour before dawn. Me and standing knee-deep in dirty water here. You keep changing what kind of standing in water he is. We'll meet you. In the meantime, you won't mind if we take the safari truck and collect our own supplies. The hunters look at Vern. He nods that it is okay. Never tell these suckers anything they don't need to know, Vern says to us in Cree. Always sound solemn, and never let on you're in trouble, even if you're hanging by one hand from a cliff and a grizzly bear is snapping at your ass. Then, to the hunters, he say, Goat fry venison steak for supper. Very good. He makes smacking sounds with his lips. The hunters smile and nod. You have fire water? He says to them. They nod again. Bring inside. At Goats, you not only learn how to hunt, you learn how to drink. Okay. Oh, that's a sad love, Fed. That's a lie. I promise it a lie. Okay. Boy, that safari truck got 12 gears and more than one of them is reverse. Okay. But once I get it up over 90, it stay there pretty good. We head back to Hobama, get our girls. Connie Big Charles is Frank's. Sadie One Wound is mine. And we head to the Alice Hotel in Wetaskiwin, where we have us a real party with the money Frank got as an advance. Good thing the sun get up late this time of year, because it is morning already when we get back to Vern's lodge. Oh, this is not going to go well. Oh boy. Our hunters look a little worse for wear, so we have time to drink a cup of coffee with them before we head out. Where's your equipment? Is the first thing Bobo, the accountant, want to know. You got so much stuff here, partner. It didn't look like there was room for nothing more, I say, thinking real quick. Actually, we was at least gonna get some sleeping bags and borrow some field glasses, but we forgot, because we was making such a good party. Us Onagachis live off the land, says Frank, acting like he is insulted by the question. You really know your way around this country? Says the accountant, staring at the miles and miles of dark timber that be all around us. Know this land like the inside of my mouth, says Frank. The hunters nod, but I notice one of them is looking at the spot in Frank's face where he have a couple of teeth knocked out in a fight at the Alice Hotel bar. They're like, why the frick has he got less teeth now? I'm concerned. The morning is misty and mean. Little wind and a mean little wind saw at us as we walk through tangled brush and over fallen trees, to get to a ridge where we have a view of a wide valley. That wind is really cold, says Bobo, scrunching up his shoulders, and strong, too. Keep eyes on sky, says Frank. You only have to worry when you see a dead elk drifting by. For once, a white man recognized a joke. You got a good sense of humor, Cal says. Goes with the territory, says Frank. A chief gotta be smarter, braver, quicker. Look out, a dead elk, he yelled, and he dived into a pile of brown leaves. I thought we were supposed to be quiet, says Bobo, who is lugging his rifle and about 300 pounds of equipment, all look to be brand new. Not this close to the lodge, says Frank. I just trying to get you guys warmed up. Did you know it gets so cold out here in the winter we have to jump start the wolves? Ain't that right, standing upright in a wet river? Please stop saying that. Call me Cy, I say, trying to keep a straight face. All last evening and even this morning I tried to talk Frank out of taking this job. I argue that we could head back to the reserve with what left of that $500 and be rich Indians for a week or so. But Frank, he got his eye on that other 1,500, and he figured it'd be easy to earn. Oh no, I don't believe it. Hey, there's so much game in the mountains, we just take them up there, and they bound to shoot something. But we don't know nothing about being guides. You never hear of on-the-job training, says Frank, grin from under that big black hat of his. I remember Vern telling us that the hardest part of being a guide is finding things to keep the hunters busy all day. 90% of your hunting is done at dawn and dusk, but there is one long time in between. If you play it smart, you let your hunters do the work and you rest up, Vern told us. I am sure anxious for some rest because me and Frank ain't been asleep since yesterday. We get to the top of a ridge where there is a view of a wide valley. You guys take out your binoculars, I tell the hunters. Make yourselves comfortable by lying down in the leaves, and then you glass the opposite hills there, real slow and careful. See if you can't find us some elk or deer or even a moose. Me and the chief, we go down the ridge a ways and do the same. Don't you have glasses? Cal wants to know. Onahachis have eyes quicker than eagles, says Frank, squinting up his face. Look off that far mountain. See patch of blue timber halfway up? See log in front of blue timber? There are 3 squirrels sit in a row on that log. The hunters are quick to get their glasses out of their cases. What the hunters don't know, that we do, is that the animals all been out to eat at dawn and we ain't likely to see them again until dusk. But glassing the mountains give those hunters something to do. Me and Frank, we drag an air mattress out of the safari truck and we set it up about 100 yards from Cal and Bobo. We lay down, prop our heads on our arms like we was staring across at the timber, and we asleep before we can count to 10. The mist has lifted, the sun is warm, and boy do we have us a good sleep for a couple of hours. We never see no game that day or the next, and our hunters, who say they have never been big game hunting before, are getting a little nervous. The 3rd day we talk Vern into loaning us each a horse. That way we can go higher and deeper into the forest. Have more of a chance of finding something to shoot at. We also decide that if we don't shoot no game by dusk, that we camp overnight. The hunters ain't as dumb as we would have expected. They do know the front end of a horse from the back, which is about all Frank and me know. The hunters assume we know all about handling and loading and riding horses, and we have to pretend that we do. You guys are a lot happier with horses than with a car, eh? Says Bobo. Oh yeah, we sure do like these here horses, we say. Guess they figure we must have rode pinto ponies bareback and all that stuff they seen in movies. Me and Frank, I bet ain't been on a horse more than 10 times in our lives. And then we rode a couple of sway-backed grays belonged to Louis Coyote and must have been 20 years old. One time on a dare I enter the bucking horse event at the Rimby Rodeo. I stay on that horse all of 3 seconds, land right on my face in the dust, limp and be dizzy for about 2 weeks. These here horses of Vern's sure ain't 20 years old, and they don't stand still so good even when I tell them to. Cal and Bobo know how to ride horses, and they tie their gear on a lot better than we do, even though I watch them and try to do what they do. We push up on the mountain, Frank in the lead and me bringing up the rear. We getting to high country, where the timber is thinner and so is the air, when about the worst thing that can happen does. Oh no. Frank's horse stepped right down on a hornet's nest. The hornets rise up, look like big old flies in the sunlight, and they start right in to bite both Frank and his horse. Well, that horse dancing along the edge of the path buck a few times like it used to work in the Calgary Stampede Rodeo. Frank, he yell, "Oh, I just see. I sorry. Welcome. Thank you for the follow, Jensa. Uwu. Jensa, uwu. Welcome. Thank you for follow." Okay, I keep going. The horse is bucking and they're getting bit. Oh boy. Frank, he yell like he been murdered. It's hard to tell how far down it is because the brush and vines is mighty thick at the side of the trail. Cal and Bobo stopped and they is turning their horses around. There's hornets buzzing all through the air. One must bite my horse because all of a sudden start running backwards and sideways. Out of the corner of my eye I see Frank's horse turn its belly toward the sun and send Frank off over the cliff in a blur of orange blanket and a loud yell. I wave my arms around and grab onto a sapling as we going by. Guess I didn't fasten the cinch up tight enough because the saddle start to slip down the side of the horse, and I slip down with it. Pretty soon the saddle is on the underside of the horse, and I am too. I hang onto the saddle horn, and if I scrunch up, my head just misses the ground. That horse is dancing in circles for a while, and then I feel him running pretty fast. I sure do feel dizzy, stuck upside down the way I am, but I ain't about to let go, 'cause the ground is hard and the horse's hooves even harder. Finally, I hear Bobo's voice talking soft to my horse, and then I can see Bobo's legs, and from the position he is in, I guess that he got a hold of the reins. "You can let go now, Si," he says. Boy, I is scratched up from riding with my nose so close to the ground, and I sure do feel foolish to be rescued by one of the men we supposed to be guiding. Bobo look at me like a school teacher just caught me with answers written on my hand. "Where's Frank?" I ask. "How much experience have you guys had as guides?" asked Bobo. He's fingering a hornet bite on the side of his nose. "I ain't had that much," I say. "I discover I got about 6 hornet bites on me, some in places I would never expect a hornet to get to." "I'm just the assistant. Chief Fence Post, he's the expert guide." "Some expert," says Cal, retying his gear behind his saddle. Just then, Frank come crashing out of the forest from behind us. His blanket be full of blackberry canes, and his face looked like it been locked up in a bag full of cats. Just scratched to hell. "Onondachis have the blood of ravens in their veins," he say. "First you see us one place, then we all of a sudden in another," and he nod his head up and down to try and smile. "Onondachis," I whisper. "Whatever," says Frank. Well, Fence Post," says Bobo. "Last we saw of your horse, it was heading down the mountain about 90 miles an hour. You're going to have to double with one of us." "Boy, if this day was a fish, I'd throw it back," says Frank, kind of resting his head on my shoulder. Then we head back to Vern's lodge. "How much hunting have you guys done?" I asked Cal and Bobo at supper that evening. "We're no greenhorns," says Bobo. "But how much?" "A few quail back home," says Cal. "And possum," says Bobo. "Don't worry about us. We won't get buck fever. Just find us some of these big here game animals if you can." "Hey, Chief," Bobo says, changing the subject. "How come you never say the name of your tribe the same 2 times in a row? And I never heard of a tribe with a name like yours. And I got a map from the Tourist Bureau showing where all the Indian tribes live." "Onondachis are kind of like the Cree," I say. Everybody look over at Frank for the answer. "The Great Spirit speak with many tongues. Pass the beans," says Frank. The expressions in these stories are really great. And that's just great. He's like, pass the beans anyway. Never mind. And I imagine he's all swollen too. So that it's like, the image is just him being like a big puffy, "Man, just pass the food." Sad. And "Boy, if this day was a fish, I'd throw it back" is also so great. Okay. Hey, say Cal in a loud whisper. "I see something." It is the next morning, and we got the hunter's glass in the mountain again. Bobo is busy getting his glasses on the same line as Cal's. Frank put his hand over his eyes to use as a visor and pretend he sees what they see. "Moose, deer, goats," they is saying. I borrow Cal's glasses and take a look where he is pointing. Sure enough, across a small valley and up about 500 feet, there are maybe a half-dozen elk moving in and out among the trees. We try to move fast and quiet down the hill, across a meadow, and back up into the timber. When we get to a spot I figure is close to them elk, but still over a hill from them, I have everyone stop. When we stand silent, we can hear from over the hill the sound of twigs cracking. Cal and Bobo get their guns all ready to fire. They start to creep forward, but I signal them to stay put. Vern Gautier has loaned me an elk bugle. This was made by a real Indian, he say to me, carved from a moose bone. It is about 4 inches long, shiny smooth, and got little holes drilled into it. You blow on it like it was a mouth organ, Vern said, and he showed me quite a few times how to make it the right kind of call on it. I take a deep breath and blow into that elk bugle just the way Vern showed me. The sound come out in 3 loud whistles, and then a lower note that hang in the air for a while. About 10 seconds after that last note die away, there is a terrific crashing from over the hill, and when we look up, a big bull elk stand at the crest of the hill staring down at us. What happened then make me feel like I'm standing in a park full of statues. I bet all 4 of us stare at the elk, and the elk stare back for maybe 5 seconds. Oh, jeez. Frank is froze in a position with his arms raised under his blanket, make him look like an orange bat doing a ceremony of some kind. Finally, there is a bunch of shots, but I can see right away that instead of shoot the elk, oh no, Bobo has emptied his gun straight into the ground in front of his feet. The elk whirl and is gone while the shot's still echoing. Cal still stares straight ahead, his gun cradled in his arm as if it was a piece of wood. I don't have a gun, but I was at least thinking about shooting that elk. Hey, Frank, I say, pulling on one of his arms. Don't speak to Chief by his slave name, he says. I am fence post, Chief of the Onagachis. I think you're beginning to believe that stuff. What's to believe? One inherits the blood of a chief. Jesus, these two. Are you okay? You're starting to believe you're drinking your own Kool-Aid, my guy. And he's like, well, you know. Bobo and Cal, standing with their heads bowed, look like they've been attending a funeral. Far off, I can hear the elk crashing through the timber. We don't see no game for the rest of the day, and that night we camp out. Oh, I'm excited for them to actually get something. They gotta. Based on how this is going, they're gonna get something. Something is gonna happen. Oh, they have to. Oh my gosh. Okay, I scoot and readjust position. Okay. Oh, it's hard. The mic stand is in the way. Okay. They camp out. Cal and Bobo have more equipment than they ever gonna need, but they believe Frank when he tell them us Indians live off the land. White men don't seem to understand that Indians get as cold, as wet, and need as much sleep as they do. When we see they ain't about to share their bedrolls, why, Frank he start in to tell stories. The stories all be about hunters who got chased and ate by bears while they camping out in the dark in the mountains. Lost 2 hunters just over a month ago, he say, real serious. Very sad. I offered to drive the bears away for a mere $100 each, but they did not believe in the powers of fence post, Chief of the Onagachis. Why would you charge an extra $100? My God. What y'all do to keep bears away? Says Cal. Some roots and leaves, when boiled a certain way, are most unpleasant to bears. I boil up medicine, pour it in a circle around the camp. Bears never cross over that line. You just know he's about to pay for that, and that's what they're going to do now. Because they seem scareable very much. Cal and Bobo ain't quick to part with more money. Oh, no, never mind. So Frank tell another story about finding parts of hunters scattered over a half-mile area, just like a plane crash, he say, and look real sad. But if you short of cash for only $50, I put the evil eye on the bears. Oh my God, says Frank. Then he stand up, fold his arms across his chest, and turn slowly around, staring mean at the forest. Does that really work? Do you see any bears? Answers Frank. Jesus. The later the time and the lower the fire, the more nervous Cal and Bobo get. Every time a mouse move in the underbrush, they jump about 2 feet. Finally, they get together and offer Frank $100 total to make up his medicine. Vern Gautier is right. One day Frank going to be prime minister if he lives long enough. That is the real clincher, if he lives long enough. Our class at the tech school voted Frank the student most likely to get murdered. Yep. Frank, he go away from the light of the campfire, pick some roots and leaves. I imagine he get the first ones he come to because Frank, he is afraid of bears as anybody. Bears is something real guides have to worry about all the time. But the answer is to pick a high campsite and keep a rifle close by. Sounds like Silas actually kind of knows what he's doing, but oh well. Frank boil up that stuff in a kettle and then he disappear again into the forest. We is camped on a high knoll with a sharp drop on one side, so all Frank have to do is pour his medicine in a semicircle around the camp. Boy, we all jump when we hear Frank scream. Oh no. It scared me too because I know it is a real scream and not Frank trying to earn his money. Right after the scream comes a sound like two buffalo wrestling in the timbers. Oh no. And Frank charged through the camp yelling, "Bears! Bears!" They dive over the edge of the embankment. Oh no, what? Oh my gosh. He just dives over the cliff. Then we hear the blackberry vines crackle and Frank yells some more. Considering he had said that he had scared away bears, like he had fought bears, was one of the things that he was first selling to them. Well, most likely to get murdered on account of scamming somebody. Yes, scamming the wrong somebody, and then... But okay. Here we go. Cal and Bobo was already in their sleeping bags with their heads sticking out of their pup tent. First they stand halfway up in their sleeping bags and they fall down, take the tent with them. Together they manage to drag the whole mess over the side of the mountain, all the time yelling like they was being tortured. Well, yeah, they're confined and can't... Oh gosh. The first thing I'd done was grab Bobo's rifle. I'm scared of bears too, but if there was a bear chasing Frank, it should have been right on his tail. I slide over the edge of the cliff, brace my feet on a rock, and the rifle on my shoulder. I figure if a bear is coming, I get off 3 quick shots and then throw myself backwards into whatever is down there. I can hear Frank and Cal and Bobo crashing and cursing and yelling somewhere in the dark below me. I wait for a long time, and when there still ain't no sign of a bear, I stand up and walk careful across the camp toward the place Frank came from. The trees make long shadows everywhere, and it is sure scary. About 25 feet into the forest, I see a broken pine branch hanging down in the shadows. It looked just like a bear's arm. Frank got scared by a shadow. I bet Frank walked under it, and it scratched the back of his neck. I fire 3 shots in the air and scuff some deadfall around. I tell them I scared the bear away, maybe even wounded it. I don't think Cal and Bobo would want to know the truth. No. In the morning, everybody but me is stiff and sore and scratched up pretty good. They all been stuck in a bag full of cats. Frank is limping like he been kicked by a horse. He don't seem to mind if I call him Frank, and he ain't called me standing and running water up to his neck yet today. Cal and Bobo and even Frank, who really thought there was a bear after him, are nice to me for being brave and scaring off the bear. Oh, I love it. Okay. We left the safari truck way at the bottom of a long slope. When I get down there with an armload of equipment, I feeling so happy I figure it'd be easy to drive the truck right up to the top where the campsite is. Oh no, now you're gonna crash that or something, aren't you? Okay. I'm nervous. The way that was set up. Okay. It'd sure be easier than carrying all the stuff down, especially since I is the only one healthy enough to carry equipment this morning. In daylight, the trees look a lot further apart than they did at dusk. The truck is facing down the mountain, and since there ain't no place to turn around, I decide to back it up to the camp. There's about 3 reverse gears in the truck, and I put it in what I figure to be the lowest, and the truck creep backwards across the pine needle floor of the forest. It crawl along just like one of these here battery-powered toys I buy for my brothers, Hiram, Thomas, and Joseph. I smilin' pretty good when I get to the top. Everybody is sure happy not to have to carry the gear down the mountain, especially me. What did he do? Not, like, put the brakes on or something? Something's gonna be bad. I hop out and I'm just about to start loading stuff when I realize something ain't right. There must have been one more reverse gear than I figured because the truck is still creeping backward. And it is awful close to the edge. Oh no. Cal and Bobo even got buck fever when it come to the truck. They just stand and watch. Oh gosh, everybody's got buck fever but Silas. They just stand and watch, their eyes getting bigger and bigger. They can't even find their voices to yell. As I turn toward the truck, I get one quick view of the way down to the valley where a river roars along, full of black rocks and white water. I figure that even if it kills me, I better stick with the truck. I take a run and dive at the open driver's window, but I only about halfway in when the truck go over the first ledge. We drop maybe 10 feet and land in the blackberry vines. The vines bend way down and the truck settles soft as a feather. I'm almost all inside when I feel them years and years worth of vines spring us back up. Oh, we just keep rising like we was on a forklift until the truck hurtle off into space. Oh no! And I figure I'm a goner for sure. But the second ledge is only down 20 feet or so, and is grassy and sunny, and what surprised me most, full of elk. That's how they get it. Oh my gosh. It must only take a second or so for us to fall, but it seemed like a full minute until the truck landed, kind of sideways, and right on an elk, what was trying to get away. That truck squashed the elk like it was a rabbit on the highway, rolled sideways and bounced down the rough rock hill to the river. I feel like the time Frank Fence Post rolled me down a long hill inside an oil barrel. Oh my gosh. I shake my head and find myself sitting on the white gravel near the edge of the water. As I watch that safari truck grind out into the river, I follow for a few steps, but the water is too cold for me to go in over my boots. Pretty soon the current catch up the truck, lift its wheels off the gravel, swing it sideways, and off it go down the river. Oh no. I can hear Cal and Bobo and Fence Post, chief of the Onagachis, crashing through the timber on the side of the hill. I hope Cal and Bobo ain't gonna be too mad. I mean, after all, I have killed them an elk, and that was what they come for. This is why we read the tough stories. They're well written and they can be very tough, and it's like, oh gosh. I mean, that hurt, but it's so well. But then we get to something like this, and I'm like, this is why you guys need to read these, and you need to hear this. Oh my goodness. How do I only have 14 followers for such a golden story as that? Oh my gosh. I'm putting a big old star next to that one. Oh my gosh. That's a golden one. 10 out of 10. Oh, thank you for the follow. Harper will try. Welcome in, welcome in. Oh my gosh. Well, that was where the wild things are. Oh my gosh. I can't. This is so cute. Okay, we've got about a half hour left, so I've got time for another short story. The next one is called Dr. Dawn. And I think we can get through this one pretty zippity quick. So I'm excited to read that one. Oh boy. That one has revived me. Oh, that was great. We had Frank being nonsensical. We had southern accents. We had another guy going on with their bullshit, ready to scam some folks in a very soft way. I mean, this time, they really did. They were there. They guided them. They did the work. They just lied about their qualifications and didn't do it very well. Oh well, but they did do the work. So not as much of a scam as the other stuff has been. But oh my gosh. Okay. Oh my goodness, hold on. Oh, okay, sorry. Voice. Alright. I'm just gonna run right into Dr. Dawn. We're gonna go straight to Dr. Dawn, and then we can raid out for the evening. But oh my gosh. That was just such a great one. 10 out of 10. Yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. Dr. Dawn. Oh, no, wait. I haven't done anything with the thing. I need to do this. What am I doing? There we go. That's what it needs to say. How come you don't mind? I ask. Oh, I should move this. How come you don't mind? I ask Mad Etta, our medicine lady. Hey, when you're young like you, Silas, you don't like nobody move in on your territory. Ooh, sorry. But when you get old as me, you look forward to all the help you can get. Who and what I've been asking about is Dr. Don. His whole name is Dr. Donald Morninglight. He is an Indian and a doctor who come to the reserve about 3 months ago. He ain't as good as me, never will be, say Mad Etta, and she laugh and laugh, shake on the tree trunk chair in her cabin. Must be 10 years since we had a full-time doctor here on the Ermine Skin Reserve. Maybe 3 times a year the Department of Indian Affairs doctors come around, but they is all white and wear coats, white as bathroom fixtures, smell of disinfectant, and to see them work remind me of a film I seen of assembly line workers who put cars together. Them doctors treat people as if they were cars, needed a new bolt or screw to be whole again. But Dr. Don don't be like that. Guess being an Indian helps. One reason we never been able to keep a doctor here is they never like to live on the reserve. Even Indian Affairs can't get for them a fancy enough place to live. But Dr. Don, when he come, just move into a vacant house near to Blue Quills Hall. He don't act like doctors we know, except that he makes sick people better, and as I say, even Mad Etta like him. And you gotta be liked by Mad Etta if you is to get any respect around the reserve. Dr. Don, he know which side his medical practice be buttered on, says my friend Frank Fencepost, and I guess Frank is right. Quite a few times in the first month Dr. Don was here, he come over to Etta's place in the evening, have a beer with her, and tell her about patients he having trouble curing. Etta give him her advice. I don't know if he ever take it, but it sure make Etta feel good. So good that right now she would do just about anything for Dr. Don. Not Mr. What am I saying? It is easy to tell by looking at Dr. Don that he is some kind of Indian, but he never say which kind. I'm a mongrel, he say when asked, and laugh. If you went far enough back, you'd find Cree blood in me. Dr. Don ain't a handsome man at all. He is about 40, got short legs, and a little pot belly. His hair be thin on top, and what he got stand out like it never seen a comb. His eyes is dark and deep set, his nose too big, and he got a thick black mustache that droop over his top lip. But he got such a friendly way about him that everybody like him. He ask a lot of questions, and he already know how to make a good try at speaking Cree. His wife is named Paula. She is an Indian too, and as shy as anything. She have a new baby the doctor say is called Morning After Rain. I think it is a girl. It was a girl, sorry. He only been here, I bet, a month, when I see him walking across the reserve with Chief Tom. At least Chief Tom is walking, taking long steps with his head down. Dr. Don have to almost dance to keep up with him, and to get a bit in front of him so he can talk to his face. I'm a long way behind them, but the words carry in the cold air. From Dr. Don I hear words like clinic, government grants, nurse, disgrace, and about 10 times money. Chief Tom only shake his head. We all know the chief, being a government MLA, could do lots of things for us if he really wanted, but he is more interested in sell off timber or give away land to make himself look good to the white people. It don't take Dr. Don long to spot him for what he is. When is the next election for chief, he asks us. Next summer, we tell him. We'd better get an organization started soon. That chief of yours needs to be replaced. And fast. I gotta agree, my guys. We suggest he should run. Hey, I'm Indian, but not Cree. How about a woman chief? Bedelia Coyote isn't afraid of anyone, and she's a very knowledgeable young woman where Indian problems are concerned. Some of us get working on that right away. I sure hope Dr. Don knows what he is saying. Know what he is doing. Chief Tom be a dangerous man to have as an enemy, 'cause he knows a lot of white people in high places. At Christmas time, Dr. Don, he stay right on the reserve. All the doctors in Wetaskiwin and Ponoka run off to Hawaii, or someplace hot, but Dr. Don just pitch in and act like he is one of us. Funny thing is that a few sick white people who can't afford their own doctors come to the reserve to see Dr. Don. Ordinarily, you couldn't get a white man to the reserve with a gun to his head unless he want to convert us to his religion or repossess one of our cars. On Christmas Eve, Dr. Don MC the Christmas concert down to Blue Quills Hall. Boy, he can tell good jokes and everybody have a happy evening. That's good. At the end of the concert, he make a little speech to say how happy he and his family is here at Hobama and how he plans to work here until he retires and then still stay here. It make everybody feel all warm inside. Aww. Then he take from his pocket a sheet of paper, and what he read is a kind of poem. I couldn't remember it too good, so I went to see his wife just before her and the baby moved away. Wait, what? They moved away? And she gifted it to me. It was the same copy he read at the concert, wrote in blue ink in real tiny handwriting. It seemed to me it is both happy and sad at the same time. And here's the little poem. Words are nothing, like pebbles beside mountains. Deeds are all that count. Watch and listen with me this Christmas, for it is the small daily deeds of men that tell the heart what it needs to know. Quietly as you have made me welcome, I will quietly go about my work. But listen not to my words. Wait and watch. Everybody is silent for about 10 seconds after Dr. Don finished, and, as Frank Fence Post would say, you could have heard a flea fart. Okay, Fence Post. Then everybody break into clapping for a long time. Finally, Eli Bird start in on his guitar, and Mary Boxcar join in on the piano, and we all sing Silent Night. Frank and his sayings, they're an extra level. Just can't. Okay. One morning in January, I meet Dr. Don walk down toward the general store. You ever see anything this beautiful, Silas? He say, and point at the pinky sky where two pale sundogs hang like grapefruit. Do y'all know what a sundog is? If you don't know what a sundog is, I implore you, Google sundog. Yes, El Chiquitas, Google sundog. Everybody. I love them. Okay. They're so great. I've gotten a few photos of sundogs that I love. Oh my gosh. Okay. One of them is around a mammoth statue because it's like a thing. Sundog. Google, go. All of you, go. Come back after. Go. Oh, that's nice. It is. It's so nice. I've seen it, but not by name. Yeah, he's so cool. I love him. Okay. I wasn't worried till my ex taught me what it was. There you go. Well, there you go. It's cool that there's two at once. But anyway. All right. Two pale sundogs hung like grapefruit, one on each side of the sun. It is really cold, and Dr. Don's mustache be froze white, as if he dipped it in flour. Funny. That's what I want to be when I die, he say. A sundog? A child of the sun, just floating in the morning sky, free as a balloon. Do your people have any legends about sundogs? It sure embarrassed me, but I have to admit I don't know. You should write one then, he say. Legends aren't really in my line, I say. I sure don't figure that in just a few weeks I'll be writing this story about... Oh, sorry. I missed that the quotes ended. Legends aren't really in my line, I say. I sure don't figure that in just a few weeks I will be writing this story about Dr. Don. Something's going to happen to him because his family moved away. We know this. That's when he gets the poem. What happens to him? It was Chief Tom's girlfriend, Samantha Yellowknees, who started up the trouble. Oh, the trouble. Chief Tom ain't smart enough to do something like that himself. What do you mean? Okay, so they're going to do something to Dr. Don, I guess. In fact, if it weren't for Samantha, Chief Tom would still be cutting ties for the railway. Yeah. What she done, she tell us one evening at Blue Quills Hall, was to phone the Department of Indian Affairs. I told them to call the College of Physicians and Surgeons and check out this Dr. Morninglight. There's something not right about him. I can smell a phony, say Samantha, glare at us mean as a school teacher. If anybody know the smell of a phony, it be you, says Frank Fence Post. That go right over Chief Tom's head, but Samantha look ugly at us and square her chin. Her and Chief Tom been living together for a couple of years in an apartment in Wetaskiwin ever since the chief left his wife, Mary. Ugh, still bugs me, poor Mary story. Samantha be a city Indian, been to the Toronto University to study sociology. When we tell Dr. Don what been done, he just smile kind of sad and say, "A man should be judged by his deeds." Then he stands silent for a long time. Oh no, oh no. It was about a week later in the afternoon that the RCMP car pulled up in front of the residential school where Dr. Don hold his office hours in the nurse's room. Residential schools. Ugh. It is Constable Greer, who be about the only nice RCMP I ever known. Constable Greer got gray hair and sad pouches under his eyes like a dog, but he got with him a young constable who be about 7 feet tall in his fur hat and speak hardly nothing but French. Constable Greer read out the charge against Dr. Don. Only the name he read don't be Dr. Don's, but 3 long words that sound like Mexican names you hear on the television. Oh no. Yeah, this is why he's keen to live away there. He kind of apologized, but say he got to take Dr. Don to the RCMP office in Wetaskiwin. What he read out say Dr. Don is charged with impersonating a doctor. Okay, so he didn't get his medicine license or something. Dr. Don finished bandaging up the head of Caroline Stick. Then he put on his parka and nod to Constable Greer. They is about to walk out when the French constable stepped forward, pull out his handcuffs, and snap them on Dr. Don's wrist. Then he sort of steered Dr. Don in front of him, looked like a giant pushing a child. Some of us stand around as Dr. Don duck his head and get into the back of the RCMP car. We still stand around even after the car is gone. It is a big shock to all of us. For me, it is like that whole place where my stomach is been empty for a long time. Oh gosh, this is gonna be sad. I just saw a little thing. This is gonna be real sad. Brace yourselves, okay, guys? Okay. What did he do? But the shock is 10 times worse the next day when the word come from Wetaskiwin that Dr. Don is dead. Hanged himself with his shirt from the cell bars is what everybody say. All of a sudden the reserve is crawling with reporters. One of them big trucks from the CFRN TV in Edmonton get up to the school before we tear up the culvert in the road, so the rest of them got to walk instead of drive. Them reporters is kind of angry that we can't tell them anything they don't already know. They are waving a copy of the Edmonton Journal with a story that start out, and then here it is. Hobama. Donato Fernando Tragaluz, I don't know how, Tragaluz, took his own life after he was unmasked as a medical imposter. Tragaluz killed himself in the Wetaskiwin RCMP lockup after police arrested him here Tuesday for impersonating a doctor. Using the medical documents of the real Dr. Donald Morninglight, the 42-year-old Tragaluz practiced as the town's doctor for nearly 4 months. What happened to the real Dr. Morninglight, I wonder? The journal has learned that Tragaluz posed as a doctor under several aliases in communities in Canada, the U.S., and Mexico for about 10 years, evading medical authorities, police, and FBI. One group is interviewing Samantha Yellowknees. She was the one that went prying into this. Is she still proud now that we know he's dead? One group is interviewing her, right? Yeah, sorry. I knew there was something wrong with him, says Samantha, baring her upper teeth like a dog looking at you over a bone. No real doctor in his right mind would start a practice out here. What about his funeral, they all wanted to know. Mrs. Morninglight said she guessed he was Catholic if he was anything. She gets some of us to call on the Catholic Church, but the priests shy away from the whole deal as if they get germs if they get too close. Of course. He can't be buried by the church because he killed himself, they say. People who kill themselves is going to hell for sure, is what they say. It seemed to me the church do all they can to help them along. As in, the church is what's sending people to hell. Hello, Brian. Welcome in. We're not going to be around much longer. I'm just finishing up a story, but we've got a couple pages here. Good to see you, though. Good to see you. Nobody know what to do for a while. Mrs. Morninglight, who always been silent, is even more now. She say she didn't know he wasn't who he said he was. They only been married a little over a year. All I wanted to do is go home, she say. Turn out home for her is South Dakota. Raven, you are incredible and phenomenal, plus you're worthy of... Thank you, Brian. You're so nice. You're worthy of all the nice things, and you're incredibly nice and generous with your words. You're wonderful. Okay, but here we go. Her home is South Dakota. Then Mad Etta step in. Suppose with Mad Etta, I should say Waddle. We got to show we ain't as stupid as the white men about a lot of things, say Etta, and she get me to call a meeting of all the newspaper people who been creep around the reserve on their tiptoes for the last couple days. Take pictures and talk to anybody who even say they knew Dr. Don. Etta can speak English good as me, but she just sit big as a bear on the tree trunk chair in her cabin, arms fat as railroad ties folded across her big belly. This here is our tribal medicine lady, I tell them. Squint into the glare of the lights that go with the TV camera. You ask me questions, I'll translate them to Cree for her. She'll answer in Cree, and I'll translate to English for you. Things are pretty easy at first, except that Mad Etta, she leave those easy questions for me to answer. She gave a long speech in Cree that the white people think is her answer, but she really be saying things to make me and the other Indians laugh. Of course she is. Oh gosh, okay. Like, somebody asked me how long she been medicine lady. What she say to me in Cree is, look at that guy with a pointed face who asked the question. He got his hair stiffened up like it been mixed with honey. Try to imagine him naked, make love to a woman or even a goat. She say this real serious, 'cause she's still playing, oh, I'm very serious. God. 41 years, I tell that weasel-faced man. Just guessing. About 2 hours before, we buried Dr. Don after having our own service for him at Blue Quails Hall. Take Ethan First Rider, Robert Coyote, and about a half-dozen other guys all morning to carve out a grave with pickaxes up on a hill where Dr. Don can look down on the town and up at the sky. Mary Boxcar play the piano, and we sing the Hank Williams song, I Seen the Light. A few people say nice things about Dr. Don, like Moses Badland, who tell us the time Dr. Don walked 8 miles into the bush to sew up the foot he cut while splitting wood. He may not have been a real doctor, but at least he show us the kind of medical attention we should expect, say Bedelia Coyote, and a few people applaud a bit. Hell yeah. I leave my ski cap off as me, Ethan, Robert, Frank, Rufus, and Bedelia carry the coffin out of the hall. The wind chew at my ears with its little needle teeth. What do you think makes a man do something like that? One of the reporters asks. Mad Etta give a real answer to that question. Why shouldn't he? Here, if you or anybody else want to call themselves a doctor, it is okay. You just have to find people who trust you to make them better. Maybe he wasn't a doctor, but he had the call. There ain't very many who have the call. Then it didn't matter to you that he had never been to university or medical school? People believed in him, growled Mad Etta. He had the right touch and loving heart. If you like your doctor, you was halfway better. Most sickness is caused by what's between the ears. There were sundogs out this morning when we were putting the coffin in the grave, shimmering like peaches there in the cold pink sky. I imagined for a second that I could see Dr. Don's face in one of them, but only for a second. And that's the end of our stream. I'm gonna wrap up now. But oh, sweet little sad Dr. Don. What do you think, folks? What do you think of that one? Oh my goodness. All right. Well, okay. Thanks for the stream. Thank you, Fat Star. Among Us. I should look into Among Us, but I gotta figure out who I would play with. I don't have people that I would play with yet. Yes, let's get a raid target and let's wrap up. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you for the new follows, everybody. I hope we see you again. Let's get going. Ika. Bye, Raven. Bye, El Chiquitas. See you later. Model sisters? Oh, we have model sisters? Oh, no. I scared. Okay. Te amo. Okay. I go ahead and I'm going to raid. Okay. Come on. No, come here. Here we go. That's where we're going. Yes, that's her. I see now. She is a copy of me without the antlers. You're the red-blue. I see you. Aha. Oh. It's a wood soup. Anybody a wood soup fan? That's where we're headed. But okay. Here we go. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I will be away for a while. Because the schedule's weird. I should be able to do something on Sunday, but I'm not totally certain. I hope I can, but I am uncertain. But here we go. We're gonna raid over to this lovely creator's wood soup time. Should be fun. Yeah. Alright. Thank you. Have a good night, everybody. Good night. Or whatever time you have. Happy time zone. Oh, thank you, Brian. Alright, here we go. We are going. Are we done? Do-do-do.